You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast, the podcast that talks about movies, TV shows, video games, and board games. I'm your host, Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome. This episode is going to be about those movies that made us laugh super hard, and that's our top 5 movies, comedies of all times. I'm joined by a bunch of guys that love to talk about movies. Guys, please introduce yourselves around the table, please.
Hello, I'm Philip Rankin, and I'm going to be joining Anthony on his Ant-Mania. Sorry, wrong way round. The M.T.V.B. podcast for top 5 comedy shows.
Good man.
Film. Sorry.
Film comedy. Scott.
Yeah, I will be joining as well, and you'll hear my top 5 as well on the podcast.
Hi, I'm Chris. First time on, and it's good to be here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tim Morgan, and that's why I'm a filmaholic.
Nice. Welcome, guys. Welcome back for season 3. Woo, woo, woo. And Chris, welcome on your first ever episode. You finally made it, mate.
I know, thank you. I've been listening for a long time.
Yeah. Guys, thank you. I can't thank you enough for coming on and being back for season 3. It's been so long, 6 months now since we last saw one another?
That long?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's been a good,
I started to forget what you look like.
Right, so guys, your top 5 comedies. Are you ready? You got your lists?
Yeah.
I understand this was quite hard for a couple of you guys to do this as well. It probably would have been easy if it was a top 10, but hey.
Yeah, that was the hardest thing, to squeeze in 5.
Yeah.
So I've got like a top 50. And I was saying to Scott yesterday, I couldn't decide. So my top 5 are a top 5, but not the top 5.
Yeah, I think it's the same with us.
Yeah.
Because I constantly, even just driving up to here, I was like, I've got to take that one out, put that one back in. Oh, I just don't know. What about you guys?
I found it really hard. It's going to be people listening going, do they even like comedies?
They've probably not even heard of half the comedies we're going to mention, probably.
What's going to be a bigger joke? The films that we like or listening to this podcast?
Oh.
There's a drummer in the house.
Right, so I guess we'll go with the questions now. So guys, with comedies changing so much throughout the years, do you guys still enjoy a good comedy movie?
As long as it's not being cancelled by culture or whatever the
True.
term is now.
Yeah.
Because you got to add this in, you got to take that out. It gets to a point sometimes where there's so many variants and codes and conventions that you got to lock into all these new comedies that it's almost like we were of a golden generation to receive what we did, almost like that. What would you call it? Like X. Generation X style,
the comedies that could get away with it.
Yeah, it's like was it you call them gross out comedies?
Yeah,
Screwball
sure.
comedies. I don't think they make them so much anymore, do they?
Yeah, well, they can't now, can they? Just people just get offended too easily now.
Now they've just replaced all the guns with walkie-talkies.
E.T. reference there.
Yeah, it's definitely more politicised, I'll give it that.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? Do you still enjoy a good comedy?
Yeah, well, funny's funny.
True. True. Could be funny to you, but not funny to them, maybe.
I think we've lost the British, the dark, or maybe the Monty Python sort of style.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I miss. But I do enjoy the American laugh out loud. So it's a good mix, and I hope they bring.
You
it
lost
back
one,
sometime.
but gained the other side of it.
Yeah,
I'm hoping they bring one back and just go, sod it.
Yeah.
Too
right.
We'll take the fallout for all the wrongness that's come out.
When was the last kind of like what you'd consider is main comedy in the modern era that was recently released? Not to take away from anyone's lists, but
I think something like It Crowd was probably one of the last best British comedies going.
Oh, okay.
In-Betweeners.
I mean, again, if you're into that type of comedy, then totally, But we'll go into different types in a sec. But In-Betweeners is definitely a good one. Anyone else? Think of it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, you're about TV shows or movies?
Well, anything. Movies,
comedy.
TV shows, certain type of comedy.
The last British, probably 4 Lines. That's probably
Yeah.
like the
Okay, yeah,
last- yeah.
Or The Good Boys. You've seen The Good Boys, the one written by Seth Rogen. You know,
I
with
know
the
of it,
three
but I've
kids,
not
and
seen it.
they're like not pre-teens. They're like 12, 13. You seen that one?
I know of
Really
it. But I've
good.
not seen it.
I have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's worth a
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so obviously we just mentioned it before. So the different types of comedy, of course, there are. But do you guys have a particular favourite at all, or just willing to try out every type of comedy, maybe, and just see how it goes, if it makes you laugh or not?
For me, it really all depends on mood. What you're in for. So I can't. So what I've done with my top 5, I couldn't pick one film that's better than the other.
Sure.
Because they all do the same thing. They make me laugh.
Of course.
So the way I perceived my the top 5 was I went from genres I tend to watch the most of to the least. So there's 10 genres altogether that I watch. So in order to put it as a top 5, I picked 2 genres and picked one film out of those 2 that I liked, that I've watched the most of, and then perceived it from that top 5 from there.
Okay.
So so my top 5 isn't what's better than the other. It's more what I've watched the most of.
Yeah.
And what mood you're in for.
Yeah, the most quotable ones almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's what did I watch the most, and what do I quote the most? Like literally, those are the 2 main factors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's top 5 is from what I've watched the most of, not what's the best comedy, but what I've watched the most of.
Yeah, sure.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Or how something's made me feel over a long period of time. You know, like because there are some films you've watched as a kid. Then you appreciate the comedy as a kid, but then you appreciate the humour as an adult.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
It's the standard test of time almost. It still resonates with you. So,
But recently, I like the new sort of American style. I've liked films which aren't probably as cool, like I Love You Man or Forgetting Sarah.
Sarah Marshall, yeah.
And Couples Retreat, you know, just a feel good. You know, it's not going to be a great, but you know, you're just going to laugh out.
We like, you know, Heartbreak Kid with
Ben Stiller.
That's a wicked movie.
And Along Come Polly, those types of films.
Along Come Polly,
Or The Switch, or what's the one? Horrible Bosses, all that kind of
Yeah. It's what we call us, one of them.
One of them.
It's just one of them. An hour and a half, you know.
An easy go.
I was about to say easy going watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something in the background.
What I call a cinema pass film.
Nice, that's good. Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
So speaking of different types, I guess that kind of goes for actors too, as well. I mean, are there certain comedic actors you won't watch because of them, like Jim Carrey, for example? Or other characters, Ben Stiller maybe, or whatever. Would you not watch that film because of that person, because you're not into their comedy?
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, true.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
Pacifier.
What comedy is Vin Diesel in?
Too Fair.
Too
Fair
film
is Pacifier. Yeah.
Really?
Apart from Guardians, I mean, if Vin Diesel's in it, I'm instantly turned off. I don't want to know. I can't stand the Fast and the Furious. Any of them.
Yeah, same.
Hang on, the first one was all right.
That was all right, you know, but it still had...
For its time.
To be fair, I didn't know Vin Diesel then. He was like... it was the first time. But, yeah, like, certain actors... he's just the main one, really.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I don't know, like I think it's like if you dip into maybe Coen Brothers, and like there's certain films that I really like of them, and then there's other ones where I just think it's a bit cookie cutter. So like, say for example, what was the hotel one? The
Hotel one?
Indian Hotel.
No, that's Wes Anderson. Dude.
Is that Wes Anderson?
Yeah.
But it's the cinematography shots are very much like all still life, much like Life Aquatic and
it's surrealist comedy, I call those.
Fantastic Mr. Fox, all that kind of stuff. It's almost like that's on the far end spectrum of like what you would call, and it's not black comedy, is it?
It's art house comedy.
It's art house
yes,
comedy. So I've not got any of them integrated into my main list because I think that would cause another podcast maybe we could talk about.
Sure.
But mine are pretty much like, you're kind of happy hour and a half, you know, just have a good laugh at it.
Yeah, I think I'll have to agree with you on that, Phil. I appreciate people doing the whole art house comedy, but it's not particularly my favourite at all. I might watch Fantastic Mr. Fox just to watch with my kids, but to me, it's not a great type of comedy for me personally.
I love Jason Schwartzman and some of the actors that.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
and obviously,
Scott Pilgrim and whatnot.
Bill Murray,
Oh,
the legend.
Yeah, what a legend.
You cannot not watch a Bill Murray film and not laugh.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Oh, Zuli.
What about you, Scott? Any particular actor at all? Or you won't watch it because of a particular actor?
To be honest, I actually can't think of one. I just watch a film if it's funny, it's funny. I try to be non-discriminatory.
Oh, definitely not if.
I don't want to be one of these people.
What a pedo.
I don't want to be one of these people that denies myself an enjoyable film because of some inane, illogical disdain for an actor. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Why am I going to lose out on that?
What about like the Ernest season stuff? You know, Ernest goes to prison.
That's in my top 5.
I don't really give it enough thought to be for or against Ernest.
Yeah, but this is coming from you, where Air Bud is your favourite film.
You've given away my top choice.
For me, wise comedy actors who I can't. One actor I can't stand, Hugh Grant. I just can't. I've never watched any of his films. I think I tried. I can't. Yeah. They say, "Oh yes, I'm goofy and awkward, but I do like this girl, but I don't know how to get rid of it." I can't stand it. I can't stand that kind of humour. That's probably my least favourite kind of comedy. Any Hugh Grant, British yuppie type shit. Yeah. Like that. I can't do it. That's the only one I would not watch. Any Hugh Grant films.
Yeah.
That's my no.
Can't
do it.
To be fair with the Hugh Grant, it's not something I'd ever go and watch, but I must admit I've seen pretty much all the comedies with with the girlfriends or So I've never come out of those films and gone, that was really shit. You know, like I've always kind of enjoyed it. Shit, I enjoyed that. Like Notting Hill, I did genuinely laugh in bits, but I would never say. I did. I just said it out loud that I like Notting Hill.
You heard it.
But there we go. That's the difference where you like it, Tim doesn't. That's what this is about. So
it's not. There's just bits in it that are funny, like the trampy guy in it, and Hugh Grant, and he's quite funny, and he was great in The Gentleman.
Yeah, he is good. He is really good in Gentleman, actually.
I'll give you that one.
I bet if you go around to Chris's house, he's got like a box with Love Actually in it and all that kind of stuff.
The difference,
and he's like,
the difference being in The Gentleman, he's a gangster guy. He's not the yuppie guy trying to get the girl. That's why I thought that was fun. That's fine. Yeah, I'll take that, definitely.
But I know what you mean. It's not something that I would go and genuinely watch, but I've always watched.
You're open-minded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Tim, it sounded like you had a blatant hate for Hugh Grant because you literally avoided his movies for years, didn't you?
For years, yeah. Well, it's because my parents my parents probably never watched them for one, and my parents hated those type of movies. So I grew up never watching those type of movies, and then I was like into my 20s when I tried to watch like those sort of films. Yeah, and then I was like, I don't know. I think it was just like the whole bringing up thing. I just got attached to the whole thing where they don't like it, I don't like it. So
until one comes along, sometimes like what's the one with the Welsh actor, Enduring Love, those types of films, you know.
That's not a comedy.
It's not comedy.
How weird, we were just talking about on the drive up here, man.
Comedy, but if it has certain actors in it, I'll be like, I'll check it out. Like I Heart Huckabees. I'm not a massive Jude Law fan, but that film is fantastic, isn't it? For its content, like it's really existential, but it has those comedy moments in it with the drama. Yeah. So I appreciate the kind of balance.
What about like films where it's like an actor that you might not like, but they play on the self-awareness of that actor's like follies of dislikes, if that makes sense. So like you'll get a film with Hugh Grant, just say for example, and the whole premise of it will be them playing up to Hugh Grant's
people's
like
stereotypical,
like, do you know what I mean? Like the film and the actors like almost become self-aware of public opinion of themselves.
So basically every Vin Diesel film out.
So they kind of play into that. So it's like they're self-aware and they're not taking themselves so seriously.
Sure.
And it's like that's like a bit of a relief. Like, oh, he's not actually a complete egotistical and you can have fun with that, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Good choices there. I wanted to go back to what Chris was saying earlier on. How did you guys ever watch a comedy film, but sort of differently as a kid, but again, when you were as an adult, you enjoyed it? Like, for example, when I watched Ghostbusters as a kid, it terrified me. But as I've grown up, knowing it's been to me more of a comedy, it's funnier. Yeah. So have you guys ever had that sort of situation with a comedy at all? Or
yeah, I mean, was it when I grew up, like, my dad moved out and he went round to his house and he had a big box of videos that he bought or he got from him. In there was like, Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 3. Aliens, The Explorers. switched at birth, and a comedy called Revenge of the Nerds.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I saw that at, well, I must have been about 10.
Yeah.
And I could just remember them, the pies and stuff, but you don't see any of the sexual
Well, like
references.
Porky's and all that.
You don't see any of the sexual references as a kid. But then you watch it back now and you're like...
It's like Teen Wolf. Do you
It's-
remember Teen Wolf? In some of the scenes,
Yes.
the party scene, where
Totally.
Styles is hosting it, and there's like, they lock him in a cupboard, or they do games with jelly, and I'm watching this at 8 years old, remember?
Yeah.
So it's like...
PG rated film as well.
Yeah, it was a bit, what's the term? It breaks your duck, or... Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was really... I mean, it was 18. That just meant I wasn't able to get it from the video shop. That wasn't- Unless it was like...
Unless
proper,
you stood on someone's shoulders with a coat on and they were wearing a moustache and they were like, I would like to purchase this with John. Like in Little Rascals.
Mom would never get me the, was it Friday the 13th? Because the boxes just look terrifying in the
Flash
videos.
art.
Yeah.
But 18 videos, it didn't make a difference as a kid when we were...
We got hold of VHSs.
Yeah, we just watched it.
Anyway,
Parents
we
rented
could.
them. And any comedies, even my mom would just go, "Oh, this is funny. We'll watch this."
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that same sort of thing really, where I would sneak and watch films I shouldn't have when I was little. Like Evil Dead, I probably saw when I was like 5.
No way.
So yeah, I definitely grew up watching adult films that are not the right age. But going back to what you're saying about like Porky's, like they're obviously 18 rated films, but they talk about sexuality, which as a young kid you don't really know about. But films like Grease is a PG rated film, but it's all about getting laid.
Yeah, it's a bit rapey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm surprised that has not been like cancel culture. I've not got wind of that yet. But
Well, they are trying, aren't they? It's coming.
really?
Yeah, it's all coming out now. You're like, we're meant to believe that they're 17 or 16.
And the funny thing is, normally in these films, like they're playing 17-year-olds, but yet they're actually like 34.
Yeah, but they're method acting, aren't they? They're going
Tim's right, yeah.
through their experience.
And that's the thing with Greece as well. It's like we're saying, like, oh, cancel culture will come for Greece, but it's like, yeah, but at the same time, like Greece is a musical, so it's like it's almost protected because it's like a musical. So it's part of that whole demographic, as it were. So maybe it will get away with it because people are like, they love Greece so much.
Because you can sing to it.
It's too successful to cancel. That's that what it is. It's too the songs are too good. We can't cancel it.
Not only that, it's so old that like it's the way film was done back then. They're not going to cast that now because what's it? The new Grease is High School Musical sort of thing.
Yeah, you're right.
True,
Yeah.
It's
Now
rebranded.
done it to the crowd
Yeah,
that it is.
which is why I don't understand anything that's cancel culture. It's like if it happened in the past, it's a product of its time, and therefore it should be looked over and studied at, and then that's when you realise, okay, that was bad back then. Don't do it, sort of thing.
What about
if you're erasing history, you don't learn anything.
What about if they redid the new Grease, but they had Vin Diesel as the leading Chris?
Well,
It's a definite no for me.
Well, Vin Diesel sings now. I don't know if you've heard his music. He actually sings now in this.
Or Hugh Grant as Danny Zuko, the British Danny Zuko.
The new team, the new other guys. Vin Diesel and Hugh Grant.
Oh, what a combo!
Yeah, I think it's a case that people are just looking into it too much, and like you said, Tim, they should just leave it for the time it was done. I'm sure years from now, people will look back at Star Wars and go, "Oh, well, it's all about an old man trying to touch a young boy to go for save a princess or something." They'll just come up with something ridiculous, won't they?
I know my mum would kick off if they cancel Grease.
Really?
Yeah,
they'll never get. Like Tim said, it's too big to.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, Tropic Thunder. It was like Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface. Surely. But because Robert Downey Jr. is like Iron Man and shit.
But then cancel White Chicks then.
But then you
Exactly.
apologised for that recently.
Yeah.
He did apologise on Joe Rogan, yeah.
They brought up recently saying something like White Chicks or Tropic Thunder would never get made now.
No,
And
of course not.
It's a shame because they're really good, funny films, and we can't ever have that type of comedy now.
No. There's no like balls to the wall humour where it's like there's no risks.
Yes.
No
Yeah, that's
one's
what I'm trying to
taking
get.
risks.
Yeah.
Well, production companies won't take on these films due to the controversy that it will cause, and they don't want to backlash online, so they're obviously going to go with the safe bet.
Yeah, it takes away free thinking, pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get out of the full cycle? Because everything goes in cycles. So we're into everything's wrong, and then we'll get to a point in a few years where we go, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's got.
I think it's kind of getting there now, to be honest. Though,
yeah. I mean, the Oscars have gotten so woke now that they've like lost ratings and they've got the worst. Like, so at some point, people are like, "Oh, it's just going to get fed up," and it is going to stop at some point. When? Don't know.
I think is I don't know if anyone saw it, but there's a video that goes around online where John Cleese talks about comedy. I don't know if you've seen it, and he makes a very good point about comedy. It's either everything's allowed or nothing's allowed. There can't be like a grey area, and it's like they're picking and choosing what's okay and what's not okay.
Who are they?
Like,
Exactly.
the man, and it's like he's right. Like you either go all in or not at all.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not. If I watch a film, I'm personally not offended by it because I know it's under the realm of comedy.
Exactly.
So, and that's the beauty of comedy. It's a representation of real life and pointing out how it's ridiculous or stupid or and this kind of thing. And when I see people going on like complaining about this and that, I'm like, really, like, come on, ain't got anything better to worry about. Like,
and
100%.
Yeah, and what happens when you're offended? Nothing. You're offended.
Offence is always, what is the term? Offence is always taken, never given. So.
Yeah, I think Ricky Gervais said something like you said, Scott, like people shouldn't go to a comedy show to be offended. Like you said, it's there for comedy.
It's irony.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. It's called having a sense of humour.
Yes, exactly.
Where do they draw the line? They come for comedy, and then you can't act a character because you're then portraying a different way of. That's not the way it is. If you know what I mean. You know, like,
sure.
They're stopping comedy. Doesn't mean that's what you believe.
No.
You're just being funny in a script, or you're on stage. So it's like. Where does it stop?
It's like if they said, all right, all slapstick comedy is completely illegal now because it promotes violence. And you're like, but slapstick comedy is a hallmark of the trade. For example, what is it? The Three Stooges and Laurel and Hardy and all that. That's from the golden era of cinema.
Yeah,
So
Buster
like,
Keaton.
Yeah, like that's the foundation of how comedy was built, because all before that it was pretty much straight shooting drama, wasn't it? Comedy didn't come in until, I don't know,
well, it's like the Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin days. That was all physical comedy, because they had no sound.
They had to do the picture, and then they had to do the black screen with the onomatopoeia sound coming up on the screen. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I remember years ago, this isn't a film, but I remember a few of us went up to London. You might have been with us, Chris and Phil. We went to see a live stand-up, Doug Stanhope.
Hey.
Do you remember that? Yeah. And literally, by the end of the film, about more than half the audience had walked out. And I'm just sat there going, why would you go all the way to London, pay a ticket to go and see someone...
Whose material you know.
Whose material or you don't know, to then just walk out? Like, why would you go in the first place if you haven't researched what... It didn't make any sense to me.
100%.
Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right.
No, I mean they even come for
fuck you.
They even come for Mr. Bean now, because I watched the documentary on him on Mr. Bean, and he said that he wouldn't be able to do it now because it'd just be like the uncomfortable and the awkward situations he puts himself into.
Yeah.
It's not allowed anymore.
It's one of the biggest commercial, international selling.
The best comedy.
It's the best comedy because it's universal. Like, because it doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Everything he does, any country will understand the comedy from that.
How is Mr. Bean offensive? Like, come on.
Everything will be offensive in the future.
He doesn't even say words.
It's like, look at The Simpsons now, how every actor has to be changed now because of, colour now. Like, Mr. Apu has to be done by an Indian guy. Like,
well, we're getting to that age now. I can see when my granddad and stuff is like, well, in my day, it was like I was starting to
see it.
In my day, we were allowed to have a laugh and have a joke and a bit of a comedy. And now it's not.
Now it's too serious to be funny now.
Someone's been offended. It's like, have they even watched it?
Exactly.
But
that's kind of the evolution of life almost. We're slowly becoming our parents as the years goes on. It's like we all now are saying, back in the day. I mean, we're all saying what our parents said when we were kids, like back in the day. So it's an evolution thing. Like, times change, people change, and perspectives change. But I mean, it's just that thin line of like where's right and wrong, especially with this cancel culture thing. But I still think even younger generations should understand that it's wrong to erase the past when you're meant to look back and learn it.
I don't think they understand that until their stuff starts getting deleted.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the thing is, they haven't got anything new with them because they're just basically, because we're in this nostalgic area where everything from the 80s is like now a trend for the younger generation. What's the younger generation giving us, like giving themselves? Like when we was young, we had our stuff. But today's generation just seems to be stuck on our stuff still.
Yeah, they just repeat. It's copycat.
Yeah. It's like in wrestling, it's like it's still Triple H and all that. Like, they're still getting the headway where like, the newcomers are still getting sight.
Yeah, they're not over.
Yeah. We are literally heading towards equilibrium, slowly but surely.
Oh, shit!
Like, it is like, even if you look at like media files, digital content, like everything's online streaming.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're seen as a dinosaur if you have hard copies of digital content.
Yeah.
And one day it could be a case of you can only listen or access files that are provided on a streaming service. You're not allowed to have a hard copy of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will stop physical media at some point.
Yeah, but that's good because that's more room for board games on the shelf.
True. That's true.
Running out of room. Like DVDs have got to go. And CDs, they're just in a box now.
Yeah, that goes out to you, Jason, as well, by the way.
I do like the progression of the media, and the same with this, the podcast. We could not have done this. I mean, we've been doing this for years. This is what we've been doing in the pub or at the counter when you were at Blockbusters.
Yeah.
This is just it.
Yeah.
But now on a mic.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to the question I kind of always ask on when it comes to movies is do you think that comedies are slowly going and it's getting more focused onto TV? I mean, we had COVID and whatnot, which is you stopped going to cinema for about a year. Just an example, I couldn't remember the last time I rushed to cinema to go to see a comedy.
No.
I think the last time was with you to see Vacation.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I saw a comedy cinema. I cannot remember anything, because humour goes into a lot of serious films like Marvels and DCs and whatnot. Can you guys sort of relate to that at all?
Yeah, there's one the last good one I saw was Games Night.
Oh, yeah, but I never saw the cinema.
That was the last good comedy I saw in cinema.
The quote? What's he
No, that's the problem. There's too many words.
The
riddle bit. There's a bit of that riddle. Which is like, I saw a man, he had like 8 legs, eyes, spiders, and then like there's, I don't know what it is, but there's like a staple that meets the man with the eyes and glasses. And the guy goes, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the black dude, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, that was the last good like comedy I saw at cinema, was that one. And that was like, 2018?
Back in the day.
Yeah, at least.
I think I saw Hangover 3. I think that was the last proper comedy I can remember seeing. I think comedy's got better for TV now. I think the TV series for me, my comedy now is TV programs. Like there are, the comedy's still there, the darkness and like
series.
Yeah.
Like Last Man on Earth, the
Silicon Valley.
the twistiness of the comedy in that is just brilliant, So what I've lost on the teen movies or the rite of passage comedy.
Exactly. This is what we're getting
Coming
at.
of age films, you're saying.
So moved into like the Modern Families and stuff. Everything on Sky, which I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I get my comedy fix now from that. And if a good comedy come on, normally you would say, oh, have you seen this? Or you get the hype.
Yeah.
But problem is with the stuff like The Hangover, 2 was all right, 3 was the same. Same with Austin Powers. 2 was good, 3 was just the repeat of the jokes
of number 2.
Number 2, and I think that's where comedy started to lose me when they repeated the jokes from 2.
Yeah,
that's where Austin Powers lost me, and same with Hangover. It's kind of like, right, okay.
I had that with Coming to America 2, which was the worst one I've seen this year. Worst comedy this year. I don't know if you've seen Coming to America.
I'm not really a big fan of the first one, to be honest.
What's the one with the RV and Jennifer Aniston? Is it the
With the Millers?
That was good. Yeah,
that was. I don't think I saw that at the cinema. There was a lot. Comedy, I would say, is more a Sky, or it used to be. I'll rent it from Blockbusters from you guys.
That's the thing. I would never really rush for a comedy because again, we were at Blockbuster, so we would get it in a couple of months, regardless, whatnot. I never really just like. I think we only saw Vacation because it was like a unlimited preview card night or something, wasn't it?
Right.
So it wasn't really like, oh, we've got to go watch it, So, but have you guys ever had that? And we're
front row, wide-eyed.
Yeah.
And we always ruin it for people, don't we? Like, we always seem to go and see Nicolas Cage and we're laughing at the most like innate things, like when he's driving a car and pulling the steering wheel over. It's just the face that he pulls.
We went to see Stolen, didn't we?
Yeah.
And there's like
we're giggling
like a whole
literally every
load
15
of us
seconds.
booked tickets in advance for it.
It's meant to be a serious action film, but you can't take that serious.
It's not serious.
It's Nicolas Cage. Yeah, but
what's the bit, Tim, when he comes out the trunk near the end? What's the noise that he makes?
when he's wounded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's wounded, and like saying, I think the daughter's just like, "Dad, are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah." It's the selling of Cage is always going to make me laugh. But yeah, my comedy fix isn't really TV shows. I don't even watch TV shows anymore, which is bad. But my fix usually comes from like YouTube, like either podcasts or like Red Letter Media. I tend to watch those guys. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
Or Bill Burr is like, he's like Bill Burr and Bill Murray, the two Bills. Like those two are my go-to like comedies. Murray. Yeah, basically, but they make me feel better in life. Like they have they hit my funny bone. And they have sense. Like I can have a complete understanding of like where their headspace is at. Like they just have it. They've got the it factor of what makes me laugh, and it's those two that I'm mainly going for. It's like with Bill Murray. It's not even just the movies of Bill Murray. I'll just watch like just him doing stuff like in regular like people's lives. Like there's footage on YouTube of him doing that kind of stuff, but just those two in general, they're my comedy fix. Bill Burr and Bill Murray.
1 minute left in the period. But no, you introduced me to Bill Burr, and I love how upfront he is and doesn't care. This is what cinema or comedies nowadays need to have, just to, like you said earlier on, be bold, take the chance, get people offended. It's like when a movie or game gets banned, people want it more. So
push the red button.
Yeah.
You want to push it more.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like when the interview happened. You know, it wasn't that good a comedy, but it got heat because of the whole like wasn't
it they hacked Sony or something?
Yeah,
or Korea supposedly.
They actually got a terrorist threat for real. You know,
was it though, or was it a gimmick? Do you reckon?
I'm starting to think it was a work.
I think
I think it was like it's just
bad press is still good press.
Yeah. Korea got some money out of it. They got a percentage.
I mean, I really did like it was on my list, and I took it off my list. You know,
did you really?
It was on there because because it's one of those films that I've always quoted, like with my mate Marcel. You know, it's like such a Boromir thing to say. You know, it's a great gift. You know, so stuff like that. I mean, like you say, it's not a great film, but depending on who you watch it with or the references that you have,
true.
It's kind of why.
Yeah. I mean, do you know, it was one of those things where I watched and I wasn't too impressed with it, but I think it went on Netflix a few months ago. I went back and watched it. I did enjoy it. A second time round, but I'm surprised that was going to go in the top 5. Very surprised.
You have it sometimes when you've seen a film to death, but obviously maybe you're in a new relationship or you've met a new group of friends and you can rewatch it with them. So you still find it funny, and obviously you don't want to quote it to death. No. Yeah, otherwise you look like a bit of a mark. But I can do that. I can watch. I don't know, like Billy Madison or something with someone, even if I've seen it. Like in the thousands of times now. But there's other films I'm like, right, it's a one and done.
True.
I don't need to really watch it.
Yeah, comedy works best when you watch comedy films when you're with people.
Yeah.
On your own time, it's like you just have that. Like I said, when I'm on my own, it's usually just Bill Murray and Bill Burr, YouTube. That's what I watch. But
you
comedy,
get comfort versions of films as well, where you
course.
just put them on and cheer yourself up if you're having a rough day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think as well, it'd be interesting to see, like, after we've gone through our selections, when we each individually actually watched that film, like what age we were. Yeah. Because maybe it's a case of like, it depends what years are like your best imprinting.
Sure.
Like your most impressionable.
Yeah.
So I won't say what I've gone for, but my comedies are all from a certain time period of when they came out and when I watched them.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's like, it would be interesting afterwards, like even if you used to like make a graph and like compare everyone's stats, and, you know. Like,
this is where, Chris, you should have brought your PowerPoint with you, mate.
Yeah, you should have brought your PowerPoint, Chris. Can't.
The Scott system.
Next time use Phil's whiteboard.
Yeah.
Can't call it a whiteboard. It's a marker.
Sorry.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's 90s old school whiteboard, isn't it? Yeah. Saying that. So obviously this is going to be the last question, and if you guys want throw in one, please do. if it doesn't affect your top 5, have you ever gone back to a comedy that you watched, I don't know, a while ago, and ever said to yourself, "Wow, this is better than I watched and I remember it," or how did I ever find this funny in the first place, sort of thing? Have you ever had that at all? Or
I've had a few. To name them, I don't know. I think one might be on my list. Yeah, I've had a few like that, but I couldn't tell you which ones. But I've had that effect. Definitely.
So I'll say an example. I mean, again, this is going back to what you said earlier, Tim, about the mood. Yeah. Like sometimes I will go back to Jackass movies. Yeah. And there are times where I'm in the mood for it. I find it funny, but then I was like, how did I even sit through the cinema watching this? You know. You guys ever have the same sort of thing, or
not with comedies actually? So when I was, again, it's all about perspective. Yeah. From as you get older, your perspectives change. So when I was a kid, my favorite Indiana Jones film was Temple of Doom. Yep. But then I got into my late teens and then realised Raiders of the Lost Ark is way better. And I don't know why I liked Temple of Doom. It's because you're young and adolescent.
Sure, it's the one you grew up with, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So do you go? Is like that thing where I don't really go back and say, I liked it as a kid, but now perspective has changed, so it won't be it anymore. I mean, I still like it, but it's not the same as when I saw it as a kid.
I don't think I've gone that way. I think I've gone back and watched the film and enjoyed it a lot more, or found it fun. Like I remember as a kid watching Police Academy. Yeah, and like Police Academy New Recruits.
John's favourite.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I watched that as a kid and just liked the police humour. But then I watched it and then it's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, of course.
It's brilliant. I think if I found it funny as a kid or earlier, I don't think I've ever, because then I've gone, what, has it offended me? Why don't I?
No. The question was either good or bad. So
so I think mine's gone the opposite way. I will go back and appreciate the actual comedy as an adult.
Sure. With comedy, it's different because like comedy's comedy. Sort of thing. Like I said when I said the Indiana Jones thing, because it's not a comedy; it's just an action film.
Sure.
With comedies, it's hard. I mean, if it makes you laugh, it makes you laugh. Yeah. So
I'm a big fan myself of the nostalgic era of Generation X and Xennial kind of culture. So things like Police Academy, I love that. And what else was there back in the day? Back in the day, that's all we keep saying.
Told you we're parents.
But the films that come out during like the mid-90s, like The Mask, anything with Jim Carrey, I can rewatch them to death. Obviously, they're back then for almost like a child audience, much like when you watched Turtles 1 and 2. 1 was dark, 2 was a little bit more lighter. So I think they understood there was obviously a lot more commerciality to cash in on. So I think, I don't really throw anything out anymore. Like I like to kind of like harbour it in my mind. Yeah. Like I'll keep them, but I won't watch them necessarily. Sure. But I just enjoy it. And it's always good to go over content, especially if you go on YouTube and you watch someone who has never seen it before. Yeah. Watch something for the first time so you can see it through different eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I think that's always cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that.
Scott, anything?
No.
Well, fuck you then. No, that's fine. So
I ain't got anything to say. I won't say anything.
No, that's fine, mate. Absolutely fine. If anyone else got anything to ask? Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Well, I was going to say, any films that you'd say which aren't classed as comedies but are actually hilarious, because I was so close to putting these ones on my list and I thought, do they or do they not? I mean, I really wanted to put Kung Fu Hustle on. That film,
it's a good film,
that's a comedy.
Cracks me up from start to finish, and I don't know.
I'd say it's a comedy.
It's definitely a comedy.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's and like Bad Boys 2, I find that hilarious all the way.
Yeah, that's totally a comedy.
Yeah. So any films that you.
So ones that aren't comedies that make me laugh, it's probably my favourite ones, but I haven't put them in my top 5 because I think that's a different thing. Like I find humour better in films that are out of context. David Lynch films, for example, they're not comedies at all, but there are so many parts in there where I will giggle and laugh a lot, but they're not classed as comedies. So I think so I didn't put them in my top 5 specifically, but it's definitely there for maybe another discussion or something. But
I mean, I think that the crossover from, I think it's action/comedy, and I was like, oh my god,
because you could look back on like
Stock. I mean, I was like, oh my god, they could go in so many genres of these pods, Where does it?
Yeah, but it's like old B-movie action films where the acting
about to say that,
and the way they react to things and the selling, and it's not digestible.
Yeah.
But you watch it and like, how many times have we cracked up that someone's been shot?
Yeah, and it's just the reaction. It's it's the, like I said, it's the out of context of it. It's not meant to be funny. but I find humour in what's not meant to be funny. But
that guy gets shot and he rolls around the room and he gets shot with like 7 or 8 bullets.
What, like the Turkish film?
Yeah,
it looks like a weird
that one. And they slow it down as well.
Yeah, the longest death scene I think it's called.
Yeah,
I think for me it's like the way people deliver a line sometimes. Like if it's like I was saying, she was saying about it being in a serious film, but we were laughing at Total Recall the other day.
Yeah,
like get a grab yourself, put down that gun.
Yeah,
just the way he said it makes me laugh. But yeah, stuff like that just kind of throws me off as well.
Yeah, was it the wheelchair scene in Alien 3? Or is it, no, Resurrection? You expected Santa Claus!
Expected Santa Claus!
Every time that
God damn it! We still got breach the hatch! We still got breach! Goddamn hatch 100 times, man.
That guy gets screwed in Deep Blue Sea.
Oh yeah, when it's an inevitable death scene where they set it up. And you're just like,
Sammy Jackson, is that one?
Yeah, he's going to get his comeuppance in a minute.
The guy in
the...
Oh, the stretcher.
The stretcher, and he gets thrown
gets drilled into that window. Or Brad Pitt in Burn After Reading when he gets shot in the head. He has that grin.
Oh,
and then
you sent me that in a messenger the other day.
I was watching it yesterday. I was like, I forgot about
it. The granny of Scary Movie 2.
Oh, that is what we used to replay that
over and over and over again. You know, about 100 times. Just going.
I was contemplating.
I used to keep rewinding the Beetlejuice bit when he opens the head up. Yeah. Beetlejuice in the house.
Or in Terminator, the first one, where he rams the cop's head into the cop car.
Yeah.
I think when me and my brother, me and Phil, we rented that when literally I was like 10 or 11. I remember literally rewinding that just so many times.
You sick fuck.
I mean, was it going back to the last pod, your villains? I mean, the reason you love the guy from True Lies is that bit where he's on the rocket.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a great
the way his inevitable death is coming. It's just hilarious.
Oh yeah, if they get what's the scene in the film where the guy gets squashed by a pane? Is it Final Destination? The pane of glass that drops and he gets completely squished.
Yeah, Final Destination 2.
And if you slow it down, you can obviously see that they've put like a dummy full of meat.
Yeah, because his body contuses into a way the body wouldn't contuse.
Or the scene from it's the 6th day, is it, where the guy falls out of the hotel room and falls all the way down and lands on his neck.
Yeah,
and, you know, stuff like that where they completely crumple themselves in a scorpion, like with their neck first, with their body hanging over. If it's like a real contorted, malicious death, it's like
the death scenes where like a dummy is used. Is always going to be funny to me. You ever see Righteous Kill with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino? No. There's a scene in there with 50 Cent. He's got his back turned and he's on like this like sort of like a high building, but he's facing the window. So
I'm not seeing it. I'm laughing.
Al Pacino shoots 50 Cent in the back of the head.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. The bullet shoots him so hard in the back of the neck that his entire body flies out the window. And I just cracked up. I was like, that wouldn't happen. But it's selling to the ultimate max, but a body would not do that.
Do you remember we used to watch that movie Pathology? It's like a dark film about being in a morgue and stuff.
I forgot all about.
And there's a scene where they get high and they have these dead bodies on a trolley. They just throw them against the wall, and the dead body goes like wow. Yeah. We used to rewind that shit so much. How dark are we for laughing at that?
I think as well that horror definitely fits into that.
Oh, definitely.
Dated horror films that then somehow like what you were saying, Tim, about context, like. I remember years ago, like I watched, what was it? What was the film? What's the tall man and the sphere balls?
Phantasm. Wicked film.
Yeah, but how can anyone not laugh at that film?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Like, it's great for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that's definitely my best kind of humour in movies. Definitely.
Or in Orgasmo by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, where they throw the dummy against the wall and it's clearly a dummy and it's done on purpose.
It's like when Brock Lesnar picked up Rey Mysterio in a stretcher and threw him against the ring post, and as he hits the ring post, Rey Mysterio falls face down and his head just hits the floor, and he's got his arm strapped to the stretcher as well. So
it's because he's so stiff. It's a stiff body.
Yeah, it's a stiff pump. And you can see, even if Rey Mysterio's still got a mask on, you can see the pain in his face because he just goes, oh.
And even the selling of the scream.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, they were trying to sell him getting hit against the ring post, but the actual bump was from him hitting the floor.
Nasty.
Devastating.
Oh, getting headaches thinking of that. Jesus. Good question, Chris.
CTE.
Good question. Anyone else want to throw one in? If not, we'll go straight to the top fives.
Let's do it to it.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
It's time for a top 5.
Right, so for anyone that has joined the show and not listened before, we're going to go through the rules of the top 5. So we have our 5s. And if anyone clashes, we're going to join in with one another and just go around the table and whatnot, yeah? And go from there. We all good with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 5.
So who would like to go first?
Do we go clockwise?
You want to start?
Yeah, throw it to Tim.
Just say clockwise.
Yeah.
So Anti. We'll go Anti.
I was looking at that clock. That's fine. All right. Yeah. So I think I explained it before, where I did my top 5 by going from the type of genres of comedies I'd watch, from least to most.
Sure.
So like I said, I had to put, because there's 10 genres I watch altogether, and I can do 5, so I had to put 2 genres together and then pick one film out of those 2 genres. That makes the list pretty much. So the 2 genres from my 5 list are from surrealist comedies and rom-coms, which I don't like rom-coms at all.
Okay.
But there is a handful I will definitely watch. For example, Lost in Translation, Love Me If You Dare. They're the type of comedy that rom-coms I will be able to withstand.
Yep.
Surreal comedies like Wes Anderson films, The Lobster, Sorry to Bother You, those type of films. So out of those 2, the one I found, which happens to be both genres, which is surrealist rom-com comedy, it's an Adam Sandler film. It's the one that probably no one watches, the one that people least like, but it's Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love. Wes Anderson.
Love that film.
It's not
No, Wes Anderson. Paul Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably my favourite Adam Sandler comedy. One, because it's not your typical Sandler comedy, but it's a Sandler comedy that I think suits him best. His character is such a... I just love his character. He's a guy with so much anger and has no social skills. You have empathy and sympathy for him, but I do laugh at all the sorry, just spin the mic. Technical malfunctions.
Yeah, Tim, I have to point this out. There's a scene in that film that when me and you watched it, it's at the beginning where they open up the shutter and his reaction.
Adam Sandler getting scared of the shutter opening is absolutely majestic. It is the best scare face I've seen from Adam Sandler. The turn.
The music before, and he's playing the piano as well.
So it's such a surrealist movie where it's like it doesn't feel like reality. Like reality is almost bent in this film, but you go with it. It's just, and then obviously there's just like this these 2 like the girl and Sandler, they're these misfits that just, they don't find themselves in the world, but they find each other. So there's the romance part. But I just love Adam Sandler being this lit short fuse where he will snap. He's dangerous, pretty much.
He's almost got PTSD, and I don't know if that's caused by his family or his sisters or his support network. But...
Yeah, it's because he's got 7 sisters. And so he lived up, pretty much been not abused as much, but just definitely kept to the side. So he has no social skills. There is an empathy towards his humour, but within that empathy, there is laugh out loud moments. Like when his comeuppance come, it's painful and it's that uncomfortable humour.
Yeah.
But I really love it. I think it's one of Paul Thomason's best comedies. Definitely Adam Sandler. It's one of my favourite Adam Sandler comedies for sure.
Nice.
Not many have seen it though.
I've seen, I saw it a while ago. I think I might have seen it in cinema actually, because it was.
Oh, you're lucky.
I think it was 99. I think the only one I've missed of his in cinema was Magnolia.
3 hours.
Yeah, that's probably why I never watched it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely my number 5.
Nice, sir. Chris, okay, number 5, sir.
Right, my number 5 is a film about puppets.
Oh,
not Puppet Master.
No, it's Team America.
Nice.
Yeah,
good one.
Matt and Trey. So I love it. It's just start to finish hilarious, and the concept is right up my street. I love anything to do with that sort of, I love a good terrorist conspiracy, any sort of fucking
political.
Give me an FBI agent. Anybody hunting anybody down, I am down.
Nice.
And obviously throwing the South Park humour, and that's what it is. How far they go and how twisted they take it with the celebrities and
songs.
It's a good musical. It's a good musical.
The musical's brilliant. I mean, the puking scene is just one of the best scenes ever. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the montage. I mean,
they use code conventions
from start to finish. And I think because they said it was such an arse to make, like
you can tell.
I can imagine. Yeah.
They don't ever want to do it again. I think that's it. We're kind of stuck with that one, and it's brilliant. I think it's
It's good that they never went on because they could have done, but it's good that they just kept it as one.
They've kept it one. They've kept it fresh, and they've. I mean, the way that they've done the Americans are just these loud, obnoxious. They think they're coming in to save the world, but they just destroy everything.
Yeah. Cairo, that's in Egypt. That's right.
Just the scene where he goes, if you want to take your own life, use this, and he just hands him a hammer.
Do you think it's a comedy that they could do nowadays?
No.
Yeah, I think they...
Because it's puppets, you reckon they can get away with the whole offence palaver or...
what, are they going to complain?
Well, I think it's if you can still do puppet ones, but it just can't politicise it as much, I guess. What's that one that with Melissa McCarthy one that came out like 2 years ago? There's a puppet comedy with her in it.
Oh yeah, no, the one with the Muppets from there.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I never saw it.
The good thing with Matt and Drake, they used a proper name and they used North Korea. But like, if you go for something like 24, they make up a name that sounds. Is that real? It sounds like it could be a real place.
Yeah,
Pakistan.
Yeah, but then it's like, okay, we're not offending anyone because it's a made-up place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
As well, like on a broader topic, like I think Trey and Matt, the creators of it, it's almost like they get a creative liberty license within media. Like to be mocked and parodied by them is kind of an honour.
Yes,
and like South Park, even if you watch South Park now, there's still stuff in there where if anyone else wrote it, cancel culture will come straight for them.
Yeah,
but because it's Trey and Matt, it's like, oh no, they're allowed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. These guys are comedy guys.
I mean, I think my comedy and being like friends with you lot and everything. I mean, South Park is my comedy. You know, the way we rip, like each other as friends. You know, like it is mainly just ripping.
I'm sorry.
At some points, me and my other mate, we just like nothing is off limits with the ripping.
Yeah,
there is nothing because that's the only way we couldn't be offended. We said. Right, nothing's off limits. And I think South Park does that great, and I think their humour really renounds to me. You know, I take it on board and I get it.
Yeah.
I get everything that they're trying to do, and the way they're trying to. The subtle things I like as well. The subtle humour, like
yeah, totally. Yeah. It's like but Family Guy does that a lot as well. Yeah. It's like how can they get away with it? But can comedy? Sorry, it's because it's a cartoon. People just like float by.
South Park and the characters, the whites. You know, you're like they're brilliant. The whites have been here forever.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine the South Park movie coming up now when you got like Operation Get Behind the Darkies and stuff?
Well,
there's no way they'd be able to.
No, and I think. But then I think South Park, they've always been like rewarded for like because they do everything, they rip everything, and then they come back and rip everything again. So they don't just rip one thing; they rip everything.
Yeah.
Until it's like, well, they've taken the piss out of everything.
Yeah.
Including themselves.
Yeah. I love when they do the celebrities.
But their boldness to it as well.
Yeah. It's John Travolta. Oh my god.
I think they have a license, like you said. They've been doing it for so long. It's like, well. They've been doing it, but don't you start doing it?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, isn't China banned now? Haven't they banned South Park because they offended them to a point? I heard about it in the news like 2 years ago.
I think they almost like demonetize it, so it'll go to you can't Now TV or something. It won't be like on the top networks, and it's harder to find.
You can't Google them anymore.
It won't come up in the top. You know,
because they got offended by one episode.
Yeah, but like I say, everyone knows that's coming. Like if like I say with global pandemic, they're gonna talk about it. Anything they're gonna politicize, whether it's political or geopolitical, whatever.
Now's the best time to use comedy for pandemic. It's
content.
perfect.
Exactly.
It's perfect to use. Yeah, I mean,
we all need cheering up.
Totally.
Yeah. Speaking of Curb Enthusiasm, new season coming out. One episode's about the pandemic.
Yeah.
And Larry David and a pandemic.
Amazing.
It's gold.
You had me at Larry David. Anyway.
Exactly. I can't wait. I'm psyched for it.
Just imagine him like trying to wear the mask.
He's gonna love social distancing. You know it. He's gonna love it. He's gonna love. He
anyway.
will love the pandemic. He's gonna love the
right.
Anyway, off topic. South Park. Sorry.
Well, Team America.
Team America. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Yeah,
Chris.
definitely.
Yeah, no, it's just as soon as it came out, I was like, "This is brilliant." And
Did you see it at the cinema?
Yeah, I saw it at the cinema, and then it was like, as soon as it come out on DVD, get it on DVD, and then it's just referenced since the day we saw it. Yeah. And that's the beauty of a great comedy for me.
Oh, definitely.
Your mother, AIDS. Your brother, AIDS.
AIDS.
What's the end bit of the song?
I can't remember now.
AIDS.
Joe Scott, number 5, sir.
Good choice, mate.
Right, my number 5, and I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this, potentially, but I am going for the 2003 B-movie romantic drama, The Room.
Yes!
Directed by the one and only Tommy Wiseau. For anyone who hasn't seen The Room, it wasn't actually a comedy to start with, but it became a comedy. It came out. It's this terrible vanity project film by this weirdo guy called Tommy Wiseau. If anyone doesn't know him, just Google Tommy Wiseau and you'll see what I mean.
And you'll see what it means.
But honestly, when I first watched it, I was hurting from laughter. Like, it's so bad. But yet there's so much good quotes in it. Yeah. I mean, Chris, I'm sure you don't have much time.
Well, this is what we were saying. You know, like films, stuff that just loses you. And he goes, "Do you want to see this film?"
It's 3 hours long.
It's 3 hours long. It's terrible. Yeah. It's quoted as the worst movie ever made, and they've remade it worse.
What a disaster!
And the way you describe, he's cracking up, and I'm like, no, like I really don't get it. And I've seen the trailers, and I don't even know why it's on your list. And for this very reason, you know, it's like, but you love that sort of humour, and that humour.
It's a bit dry.
Yeah, it's a bit dry for me. That one.
But even listen to the reaction we all just had to it.
Exactly.
Like,
Do
you know what
it definitely made me laugh when I saw it.
So anyway, I'll give you the write-up online. So, Johnny...
There's a plot.
Yeah, there is a plot, somehow.
It had a 3.7 rating on IMDb out of 10.
Surprised it didn't get less, to be honest.
Yeah.
Johnny is a successful banker who lives happily in a San Francisco townhouse with his fiancée Lisa. One day, inexplicably, she gets bored of him and decides to seduce Johnny's best friend Mark. From there, nothing will be the same again. But the thing is as well, like, this spurred a lot of like internet craze, memes. Even now, they do yearly film showing tours in like private films, like Prince Charles Cinema, where hundreds and hundreds of people will attend. And meet Tommy Wiseau, and they'll throw like the football to each other.
It's the only way Tommy Wiseau can meet women.
Yeah, that as well.
Because in his films, he always has to have a self-sex scene in it, doesn't he? Like,
again, vanity project.
And this guy looks like a bag of spanners, doesn't he? Like,
yeah, he's not all there.
We don't even know the history of this guy. Like, no one knows
how
where
old he
he's
is
from or how old he is.
Oh, wait, he's Polish.
Is he actually?
Polish.
I know there's something about his dad owned like a jeans company.
Yeah, that's how he got the money. That's how he got the money. To make the
but yeah, and like there's things like there's random stuff in the film, like there's pictures of spoons, and and any time it comes up on the screen, you'll have like 300 people in a cinema screen throw spoons at the screen and shout spoons.
It almost
it's brilliant.
It almost becomes like you've joined a cult.
Yes,
a Wisearian. Yeah. Would that be the cult name or
Wisearian?
So everything I hate in the movies, talking. and throwing stuff. Trying to watch a movie and they're throwing spoons.
Yeah. Walking out is not an option.
And then as well, it's important to mention there was an actual comedy made based on Tommy Wiseau and the film called The Disaster Artist by James Franco and Seth Rogen. So the fact that it created another comedy film ripping on the film just goes to show like how big it is, the impact it had, and it's just such a weird something that wasn't a comedy but became a comedy.
Yeah.
It's just I just find that great. I love it.
It's a film that failed but succeeded in failure.
Yes.
Sorry, that's what I thought you were on about, but it was the film it was doing the remake on. Was it? Yeah, because you were trying to sell me was it The Disaster?
Yeah, Disaster. No, that is worth watching.
Well, they were so embarrassed. Was it Seth Rogen of James Franco was so embarrassed with working with Tommy Wiseau that when they went to go collect an award, was it an awards?
Yeah.
When they went to go to collect an award, they all got up on stage, and you can see James Franco purposely tried to shift the mic away.
He stops him, doesn't he? Yeah, he's like, whoa.
Because he's like, as well as we've done on this film, I don't want this guy to smear us and tank it by speaking on the mic in front of 1,000 people in front of whatever Academy Awards it was. Because they knew he was off his rocker.
He's not all there, no.
He's not all there. He's as crazy as a, whatever acronym you want to put in there.
He's a genius.
But he is,
that one got me. No, I missed that one.
I remember when we watched it for the first time, we actually ordered the DVD.
Did. We was the first ones from it to get hold of this film.
Yeah,
I showed
you were referencing it
was
Blockbuster
actually
constantly. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, because the thing
it was actually you two that got me onto it.
Because the thing was that I used to collect Empire Magazine, and Empire Magazine did a big article on this movie back in 2003 when it was coming out, and it was mentioned about a guy who used to work in fashion, funded a film, and it could possibly be the worst movie ever. Years and years go by, Tim brings it up, and I'm like, I swear I know this film from somewhere. So we managed to find a DVD online or something.
Yeah, well, I found it
Blu-ray and DVD.
No, I own the Blu-ray now. I own the Blu-ray now, but
so I found because I'm obsessed with YouTube. I just found this scene from this film, which is from The Room, and it's I'm fed up with this world.
That's it.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I sent it to you.
That's right.
Yeah, and I was like, this film.
Oh, hi Mark.
What is this?
This film, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark.
It's like, what is this?
Don't
And then
worry,
you
he's
mentioned
going to jail
you
now.
heard of it, and then you got the
We got the copy. We got the DVD.
Yeah,
And then
we actually had. Did we have popcorn?
we had the whole shebang, mate. We were like, and we were sitting through here like expecting this serious film, and it's like, of course, it's. I don't, because when you watch it for the first time, I don't know if you guys have it. It's like, is it purposely done like this?
It felt it, but then it wasn't.
But obviously, when you watch it, it's not, is it?
No.
It's
Well, that's another thing I've questioned as well. Like, is Tommy Wiseau, is he working everyone? Like,
No,
is
he's generally
everything
insane.
Yeah, but that's all part of a good work to make you believe
I think that's
that he's not working you.
I think that's fishing too deep.
Is he an actual genius?
He looks
and he's
like an
working
idiot.
everyone?
He sounds like an idiot.
But then he's got you worked.
I think you're giving him too much credit.
But yeah, I'm happy to say I own it on Blu-ray, and the menus for it is amazing because it makes it look like a sci-fi film when you click play. And it goes and whatnot.
I remember at Blockbuster, obviously you two used to quote it to death, and I was like, when you feel like left out of the loop, and you're like, right,
you got to watch it now.
I've got to do my research. I've got to find out what this was. So I said to Tim, "Is there any possibility I can borrow it from you?" Tim lent it to me, so obviously I got it home. We're obviously having a puff, and I put on this film. I didn't realise how long it was. And I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm just like, I'm sorry to say, I just didn't find it funny straight away because it was a whole new culture to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
After a few years, then I started getting it, and all the online memes and quotable references. Yeah. I personally could not really watch it again. I would only show it to someone in highlighted form, because isn't there like a 10-minute highlight reel on YouTube of all the best bits? Yeah. So I'd watch it that way, but I wasn't into it straight away. I just found him funny. He's in an episode of is it La La Land?
Yeah.
If you know the actor Mark Wooten, who plays, he's much like a Sacha Baron Cohen type guy who plays multiple characters. But Tommy Wiseau is in one of these episodes where he's obviously trying to film like a office scene type thing. Yeah. And Mark Wooten plays this like ginger Cockney guy. And he just winds him up the whole time, and he's scratching scratch cards and stuff while he's on scene, and then he's like being just overly Cockney. It's worth watching La La Land. It's a BBC thing.
Okay,
but I always like that where it gets integrated into like the bigger media scopes, obviously Disaster Artists and all that kind of stuff. So when you guys were talking about it, it was so like underground at that point, wasn't it? Like,
it wasn't.
Totally, yeah.
It didn't have the limelight just yet.
No.
Like, we kind of caught wind of it just at the point where it wasn't. It didn't have a cult following as much. To the point when
Which it does now, yeah.
As much as it does now with the Prince Charles cinema, with him coming there every year and stuff. That never happened when we watched it. So it didn't catch that much wind.
No, the front cover for it as well was quite off-putting.
Yeah,
it's just
totally.
his face blown up in some kind of warped.
It's terrifying.
doesn't
It's a
look
horror
right.
film.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Scott. Yeah, why is it called The Room?
Well,
You're a fan, you should know.
if you listen to an interview with Tommy Wiseau, he's not talking about a room. He's talking about the room that is the world.
Oh,
It needs to be like on a T-shirt or something.
He's not talking about a room. He's talking about the room.
also,
It's
for
such a
those
true-
fans out
true
there who
poet.
are Tommy Wiseau marks, there is a games review thing he does on YouTube where he gets abducted by aliens. He gets put on a ship.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And
terrible.
he plays a range of games. He doesn't even know how to hold a controller. But it's just funny trying to watch. You know when your parents used to grab your the controller and they used to do that thing where they would move it to jump?
Yep.
Like he's all like that. And then there's like this on-board alien entity that's talking to him and cussing him the whole time. And it's just...
Whilst he's playing, yeah.
Yeah, it's well funny. And then the the exit scene in that, if you've ever seen it, where he exits, just watch it. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just so bad, but so good at the same time.
It's a one and
It's a car crash, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like Final Destination.
I just think it's great.
Do you rewatch it though?
What, the room?
He tries to force me to watch it, like Clockwork Orange.
Surely-
style, like,
yeah,
annually,
surely-
like we watch The Rock.
Surely you don't watch the whole film. You just watch the best bit. Surely you cannot sit. I mean, I've
The
seen
whole film is the best bits, Tim.
I've seen the whole film probably 3 times.
And
in
the
my
thing
life.
is,
But-
if you skip any parts of the film, you're missing valuable plot twists.
oh come on,
Character arcs, you know,
there's no poetry. if that's what you're
symbolism too. You know, I don't want to distort the director's vision.
By watching the whole thing or not?
Jesus
No,
Christ.
you have
Sell
to
it.
watch. You have to watch the whole thing.
You're selling it.
Yeah,
Well, if it's in
you
your
have
top
to.
5, then I'm
Yeah.
sure you would.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, I've only watched it, I think, twice.
I've
all the
watched it
way
more than
through.
you, and you're selling it hard.
I think I've only watched it twice because I'm not going to watch it again on my own, am I? Like, it's what
That's true. I never watched
it's
it
what
on
we're
my own,
saying.
to be
Like,
honest.
it's better to enjoy comedies with people.
Yeah,
but
of course.
obviously, trying to get someone to watch it is
It's a reaction movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it
It's
is,
that.
yeah.
It's-
So Scott sold that film to you, so give it a watch.
Yeah, then moving on.
3
What's
times enough,
the whole
trust me.
episode's going to be about Tommy Wiseau. Good pick, sir.
Right.
Phil, number 5, please, sir.
Okay, my number 5. Well, I'm not going to say just straight away. I'm sure a few of you are going to agree with me on this because it's one of those films. It's a Farrelly Brother film.
Hey.
It was made in 1996. It's 12 rated. It's a comedy screwball film starring Woody Harrelson, Bill Murray, Randy Quaid, and Vanessa Angel. The title of the film is, of course, Kingpin.
Yes.
I
I took that out of my list because I thought someone was going to have it. Yeah, but I totally agree, sir.
I was
Yeah.
discussing with my brother what would go in, who would like. I just picked this because I think the Farrelly brothers do deserve a mention.
Yes.
Considering they've done what you would call, maybe a decade or 2 decades long of films. So they did. There's Something About Mary. What else did they do? I forget now, but you can research it online.
Me, myself, and Irene. as well.
Yeah. This film stars Woody Harrelson playing a character called Roy Munson, who loses his bowling arm or hand in a betting scene gone wrong, really, where Bill Murray screws him over, runs out the bowling centre, and leaves Woody Harrelson to reap the, not rewards, but he gets his hand put in a bowling cleaner, basically. So it destroys his career, and then it cascades. Was it 20 years later, 30 years later?
Something like that.
20, yeah.
Where he's obviously short of money. He's living with a landlady, which isn't particularly becoming. He has to do sexual things with her to pay his rent. So he's on the, bottom line of society.
Yep.
Yeah.
He meets a fella called... I think it's
Ishmael.
What's his name? Ishmael, who's Amish, and he's really good at bowling. So obviously Woody Harrelson thinks to himself, "I can make some money on the ride on the drive." They incorporate Vanessa Angel. Some of you might know her from Weird Science, the film. So it's a road movie. It's a buddy movie. I would say if you like films with comedy and our journeys to self-discovery, there's bits in it of like, you know, religious, turning your back on God, desecration. Obviously Ishmael, the Amish fella played by Randy Quaid, he gets a tattoo and he's like, oh, I've desecrated my body and all this kind of stuff. It has a lot of the Farrelly brothers people in it that are generally in a lot of their films, so I can't remember their names as such, but was it Stanley, the guy that they go over to his professional bowling alley, and obviously he gets the hump because he loses on his own territory and all that kind of stuff, so you'll recognise some of the actors in it. There's a term in it called Munsoned. So basically Munson means up a creek without a paddle, you've screwed your life up type thing. So Woody Harrelson has that feeling in it where everyone's just ripping on him and he's like, where's this term?
Because Munson's his surname, isn't it?
Yeah, he gets Munsoned. The final scenes in it where obviously they get all the way to, not to, you know, spoiler it, but they get all the way to the bowling finale and it's basically Bill Murray versus Woody Harrelson, which is a classic scene. I was reading notes on this online and it is actually true that Bill Murray did hit 3 strikes in a row.
Oh, nice.
So, and Bill Murray's one of the best villains in this film.
It's definitely my favourite Bill Murray villain.
Yeah, he's a great heel in this film. The dialogue is absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't seen this film and you like 90s comedies, I would strongly suggest this. It's my top 5.
Nice.
And also, on a different note, if you like soundtracks as well, it's got a really broad soundtrack. It's got obviously Goldfinger's Superman in it that they play any time that they're on the run from something. But I always enjoy a film with a decent soundtrack as well. So this is very varied. And I love Bill Murray. I love Woody Harrelson. Randy Quaid at a push as well.
Totally.
Hello,
I was about
boys.
to say,
I'm back.
He's underrated.
But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. And
I do love it. I love Kingpin. I was so close to putting it in my top 5.
Yeah. Same. It's on my honourable mentions.
That's why.
It's in mine. Yeah, my honourable mentions.
I've got it written down.
It was so weird because when that movie came out, it's like it was one of those films that went to cinema, but not all cinemas.
Yeah.
So I only got to see it when it came out on VHS and whatnot, and I recently picked up the Blu-ray for that. It has a director's cut on it, and the director's cut's actually really good as well. So I might have to let you borrow that and give it a go, man. It's good.
Is it a lot of scenes they've added, or is it only? I
think it's got like 17 minutes added to it, so there's quite a fair bit added to it.
More Bill Murray?
Yeah, a lot of it's more just the scenes are extended.
Okay,
so
sweet.
It's not like it's new scenes. I think it's just more extension stuff on things.
Well, I'm sold.
Yeah, I'll let you guys borrow it. It's good
for sure.
My number 5. So I had one on here, but I took it out very last minute, and I'm gonna just pretty much say it now. It's National Lampoon's Animal House.
Yes, good choice.
Love that movie. Going back to when we did our villains episode, I'm so fucking gutted that I didn't put Douglas C. Niedermeyer in there. He is an incredible bad guy.
Is that the what's his name? The one they're against. The
one who's on the horse and whatnot.
Yeah,
Douglas C. Niedermeyer. It's like I am so gutted I never put him on the list. I went back and was like, fuck, he should have been on the list. But this is one of those films where my dad introduced me to, I think he was watching it one night. He says, "Ant, come watch this bit." And it's the part when the horse dies. And it's like when he shoots in the air and he goes, I'll never forget. It's making me laugh now. It's one of my favourite scenes ever. I love that. It's a simple story about 2 guys starting college, trying to get into a fraternity. And I would love to be in that place, in that time. The music and the style. John Belushi is on point in this movie as well. Yeah, the zit, the guitar bit.
The bottles of Jack Daniels that get crushed.
Oh, mate. How he did that is just beyond me.
He drinks the whole bottle.
That's it. He goes, thanks. I needed that.
It's when the guy drops the bottles and his reaction was like,
or the guitar scene where the guy's playing a guitar.
He smashes it. I gave my love a chicken. It's incredible. It's like it's
very quotable film as well.
72, 75. It's
very early.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of known actors early. Kevin Bacon's in it at one point as well. And it's just one where I think it's actually the oldest one on my list. Yes, it is, and still how I find it. It's like going back to what I was saying about how you go back and watch it and how funny you forget how funny it is, and you look at it differently as well because. but there's definitely ones where you can't, like the part when he's looking in the girls' changing room. You wouldn't be able to do stuff like that.
No.
But even another character I forgot was really good in it and has one of my favourite lines in this film is Dean Wormer. And there's like a part where he says, "Put a sock in it, son, otherwise you'll be out of here like shit through a goose." It's like one of my favourite lines in that.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favourite lines is, "Don't, but for God's sakes, what kind of man has a defenseless animal?"
Yeah, then that's Niedermeyer. It's like he's just such a great actor.
It's the bit where the guy's face comes up on screen when they're doing a screening to cut through who they're going to introduce.
Yeah, to get the kid in, he's like, "Ay!"
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh shit!" and they start throwing stuff.
It's Belushi's reaction.
Yeah, he's like, see a photo of him on the slide projector, isn't he? Yeah.
Or the naming bit. What's it where they're like, "Oh, you're Delta Chi Tai name."
Yes.
Flounder.
That's it. And you're going to be called 8-Ball. Why 8-Ball? No, Pinto. Pinto, is it? Why Pinto? Goes, why not? Just a great movie, and it had to go on the top 5 very last minute. If no one mentions what my number 5 was, I'll mention it in the honorable mentions. If I put it in there, I thought we were going to clash, but it's still a good replacement for what I was going to put on there.
That's good.
That's my number 5. We now go to. Oh, hang on, no, one sec. Technical difficulties.
Number 4.
Number 4.
All right. So the genres I've picked out of these two is stoner comedies or true stories. So
I love the
the choice between the two.
Yeah,
I see how you chose that subcategory.
Yeah. So I actually found one that's not entirely a true story, but is based on a real character in real life. So it's a stoner comedy. It's kind of a crime comedy as well. This might clash, I don't know, but The Big Lebowski.
No. But
that was my number 5.
That's 5.
That was my number 5. That was going to be, but I took it out, out of my house. Yeah.
The dude. The closest to a non-Bill Murray character that I am very fond of. He's just one of the best slackers in any character comedy movie. Out of the Coen brothers humor, because a lot of it is hit and miss, but I think this is their best one for sure. When it comes to stoner comedies, it's not exactly a stoner comedy, because with stoner comedy, there's that kind of surreal bending of the world. This one's more straight-laced, and I just love his character. He's just the most laid-back. Any situation he's in, you just laugh, because he has this like kind of Zen master mentality of life. And John Goodman, I think, is underrated in the film. His character,
John Goodman is fucking amazing in this movie.
He steals the film for me.
Absolutely, he's a scene stealer.
Market zero.
His foot was over the line.
On the line.
I'm sorry, you're over the line.
Yeah. And
shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
I am the walrus.
It's a very quotable film. It's probably the best Coen Brothers film for quotes, especially. And I do quote a few times. In fact, Anthony, you always
quoting it.
Whenever we want to arrange a day to meet up, you will always send me the gif of
far out, man.
Dude going, far out, man. Far fucking out.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah. So it's ingrained in me, that film, from even when I first watched it. And obviously, John Turturro. I don't know how you say his name. The Jesus.
Yeah.
I have not.
Nobody fucks with the
Jesus, man. No, I've not seen the sequel, and
I
don't think I want to, because I think it might tarnish the original. But has anyone actually seen the sequel? I was just going to ask. No. So I don't. Does anyone want to?
Isn't it based on? Yeah, the guy.
Jesus,
which
Jesus Rolls.
Sex offender.
Which I don't understand, especially in this current climate.
It's like The Woodsman, but a comedy version.
The Big Lebowski's great. I mean, I'm not one for the Coen brothers. No. Normally, if they were on, I'm like, because I always feel cheated at the end of a movie.
True.
With the Coen brothers. You know, was it No Country for Old Men?
Yeah, sure.
I sat there for like 2.5 hours, and then that end scene. If my cinema chair wasn't bolted down, it could have gone. I was like, we're ending it there.
Yeah.
With a cup of tea. Like,
just end it with a cup of tea. That's great.
And I was like, well, okay, Coen brothers, but then the Big Lebowski is, like you say, it's not a proper comic, but it's the humour's there. It's
and
it's dark.
Yeah, the Coen brothers are weird because they have that kind of zany sort of like comedies, like Burn After Reading, Lady Killers, that kind of type. They're very strange. Like they have this like weird tone of like between serious and comedy, and there's like that kind of like odd shift where it just doesn't blend too much. But Big Lebowski's perfect; it works well.
But the original Lady Killers is
amazing.
Yeah, but
I love the original.
The Coen. Was it with George Clooney? Was it
the worst?
No, it's Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is on Lady Killers. Yeah,
sorry,
it's the worst.
Rubbish.
It's the worst Coens easily. I did not like Lady Killers at all.
And as well with Big Lebowski, it did create another niche cult following. Like I know every year, like people do like cosplay meetups at like events throughout America of the Big Lebowski. So that's another.
It's even got its own religion, Dudism. It's a real thing.
And wasn't it when he got his name on the pavement, he dressed as the dude?
As the dude, yeah.
Or he had the cardigan at least, didn't he? Yeah.
It's easy. And for Jeff Bridges wise, I love Jeff Bridges. I think he's great as well.
Jeff Bridges!
He's a legend in his own right. But yeah, no one could. He was born to play that role. No one could have played that role better than.
Big Lebowski was one of those films where I saw it when it sort of came out and for the first time, and I was like, I don't know what I'm watching here. It's like I couldn't get over time. The more I watched it, the more I've watched it, the more I've like learned to like it, appreciate it, and even find it funnier every time I watch that movie.
It bombed the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was too of its time. I think comedy at the time it came out was a lot more different.
Yeah. And the 18 rating it got as well, so barely anyone would see it.
Yeah.
First time I watched it, I was told that it was like, oh, you got to see The Big Lebowski. It's one of the funniest films ever made, sort of thing. You know, that's how it was sold. And it was brilliant, but I nearly got lost in it's not funny, you know. So I nearly got lost into the point where it's not that funny, but it is, you know.
It grows over time, I think.
By the end of the film, you're going, oh, that was brilliant, you know. But it was for a long time. I was like, where's the laugh, you know?
Yeah, because I used to think John Goodman in that film was a dick.
Yeah,
but the more I watched it, it's like he's actually,
once he commando rolled out of that truck, I pissed myself. Yeah. This is brilliant, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll cut off your Johnson.
Have you ever heard the theory to Big Lebowski?
Where are we?
So basically, fans have gone back and watched it many a times and thought that Donnie's a ghost. Like he's not really there.
Oh, yeah.
But his foot wouldn't have been over the line.
No, Donnie's wasn't over the line. It's the other guy on the other team. Because people have gone back and watched it. Like everyone in the bowling team, there's only 2 people. So why is Donnie there all the time? Why is Donnie bowling when the other 2 are there as well?
Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch it and see what you mean.
Yeah, rewatch it because the guy who goes over the line is on the other team. He's got like longer hair and he's like, mark it, whatever, dude, or whatever.
Do you think then maybe...
I don't think it's the case. I think it's just fans just going...
But John Goodman has got such hardcore PTSD that he's created like a alternative...
reality.
Like a imaginary friend, and that is...
Possibly, but then again, dude talks to him as well. Yeah. So it's a bit odd how people have come up with that theory, but they've only had one bit of evidence to back it.
Yeah. Which one's the imaginary one then? Could he be imagining the dude?
That even,
Creepy pasta. Is that what they call that? When they come up with a thing behind the thing. And
exactly.
Story.
I think it's fans is fishing too deep. I mean, going back to, was it Punch Drunk Love?
Yes.
Apparently that's a Superman origin story. That's what fans have said. Just because he wears a blue suit and a red tie, and there's a scene where he jumps and looks like he's flying, and they're like, well, it's a Superman origin. I was like, and he's got superpowers because he's super strong in the film. I was like, really? It could, but again, that's fishing too hard, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Tim, going back to your comment that they wouldn't be able to remake it, I reckon they would, but have Jeff Bridges instead played by Vin Diesel.
Every time someone says Jeff Bridges, Jeff Bridges.
Vin Diesel smoking weed would be interesting.
I know that. I just know that Chris would like to see that.
His eyes are already glazed.
Before we move on, going back to the old 360 days, the U-Star, do you remember that?
Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't know what U-Star is, it was for the Xbox Connect. You can film yourself being in famous films, and every week they would add a movie to it. And 1 month they did it with Big Lebowski, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And you could play the either the dude or the fat guys, like some Chinaman took me. And we used to smash the shit out of that. Like you would even do your toilet seats up, man, and stuff like that. Used to love that.
There's so many good. The Big Lebowski has there's so many good quotes. Even was it the Nihilists? Yeah.
Flea,
Flea, yeah. And then there's the other guys. I fuck you. I fuck you. I mean, that's funny just because it's just ridiculous. It's just, there's so many quotes.
Throw out the ringer.
Yeah. And as well, has anyone ever had a White Russian?
Yes, I have.
They're nice though.
He called in the Big Lebowski. He calls it a Caucasian, which I thought was very
Would
strange.
you be able to get away with that now?
No, because he goes, give me a glass of Caucasian. I was like, odd. It's very strange.
He says that at the bowling bar, doesn't he? Yeah.
So,
and obviously one of the most famous lines is "They peed on my rug."
Yeah, peed on your fucking rug.
That's right.
Tied
they
the room
peed on your fucking rug.
They peed on my rug, man.
Fucking A.
Right, so good choice, sir. Number 4. Chris, what's your number 4, sir?
Number 4. Right, this one caused great controversy back in the day.
Awesome.
Which means it's always a great start.
Great.
And this one...
Everyone's moving forward to the mics now, wait for it.
And this one's by the Monty Python guys.
Nice.
It's called Life of Brian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic.
Being from a religious school, growing up and everything,
Me too.
it's brilliant. You know, it's great because we never quite believed in it back in the day. I mean, I've got all my badges just in case.
Just to say you did believe in it at one
Just in
point.
case it's up there. I've got
It's converted!
I've got all 3 badges.
You're
And
covered.
so this one, I think I watched this one late. Now, the rest of my comedies are ones that I loved as a kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, this one, I'm glad I didn't see this one as a child. I needed to really appreciate this and the humour and how far they take it and why it got banned.
I was about to say, it got banned for a while,
It got banned
didn't
for being, taking...
Was that just here, though?
No, it's most. I think it's other countries as
Oh,
well.
yeah, I wasn't sure.
think they just ripped Christianity so bad.
Yeah.
And the Jesus story, it's brilliant. And they just make it up as like, well, that's probably how it happened. It's just some random guy on the
People
stairs.
just don't want to believe it.
It's sacrilege to them, but it's funny to us.
And just like there's scenes with like happens for an ex-leper and he killed me, sir. You're like, bastard. Took my livelihood. And like I like just the scenes with the Romans searching the house, and there's about 50 of them piling in, and they're like, they can't find nothing. And like, you walk in, and the next thing, one's hanging out the basket, one's hanging behind the curtain.
It's got codes and concepts of like what you would call is the UK scene. So they just nail it perfectly with their delivery and the was it the Jew? People's Front. People's Front.
The People's Front of Judea.
Segregation and. The women's scene where there's a stoning.
Oh, I love the stoning scene.
But then that scene, they were the first. I have the right to be named the Rare. He does have the right, which is about nowadays. They were the first to bring in like that sort of. They were on it, so I think it's just brilliant. The humour with the Romans catching the guy and he has to do lines on the walls like Romans go home.
Caesar in it as well. Is it Caesar?
Caesar, yeah.
And he's got a speech impediment. Yeah.
Do you find it amusing?
You've got to admit to them that was like ballsy to do that.
Very ballsy.
Yeah,
and
but then they didn't care.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
John Cleese, you listen to his interviews. He's like, I don't care. Funny's funny. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Does that get to a point though where the group of actors that are in it are somewhat maybe atheist or something or agnostic, that they've got to a point in comedy and their life that they can literally just pick any subject and go, right, we're gonna.
I think it helps because they're a group, a team. It's not like, oh, we've got this guy coming on. He might have a different view. It's a bunch of mates who have been doing the same film for a long time, and they can just like the power they probably had to say, well, we are making this movie with or without you. You know, you either
the chemistry is undeniable between them. They just got it.
The only scene I don't like, the only bit in that film that I don't like is the bit where he's running away and then he falls into the spaceship.
That's very Terry Gilliam though.
I don't get it, but it doesn't ruin the film for me.
No.
Sure, it's
But then just maybe they're making a reference to. Like, there is a theory that in certain biblical texts that they're referring to aliens.
Maybe,
Alien, so maybe they are aware of that, and that's why they poked fun at that.
Yeah, just for 30 seconds it goes, flips, it goes crazy sci-fi, and then it comes out, and then it's never mentioned again. And even the colour schemes in the way... Yeah. It just goes nuts.
I think that's what it is. It's like filtering. It's like you got that desert look for the whole film. I think just wanted to give you something to freshen you up almost. Yeah. It's like a break.
Yeah.
And just the way the film ends, just him shouting, "You bastards!" I can't think of a better way.
Heartless bastards.
Just a better way to end the film is just nailed on a cross. It's just like...
What's the end song? Always look on the bright side of life. Was that written by...
I'm Brian and so's my wife.
Eric Idle.
That was written by Eric Idle, and look how famous that song is.
Was
now.
that actually made for that song?
Yeah, I didn't even realise. I thought it was like one of those old-timer type songs. But
Eric Idle,
yeah, like there's so many good the jailer, the guy.
The jailer's on there.
Only yesterday turned me the right way round.
Proper teacher's pet.
Oh, to be spat on.
I spat at in the face. So, I mean, yeah, so that one, it's just been brilliant for so many years.
Yeah.
And do you think it still holds to this day?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. The other day, Sally, she goes, I've never seen it. And my eyes lit up. Like, yes. Yes.
We're watching this tonight.
We're watching this. Yeah. We're getting this.
Yeah.
This is happening.
Yeah. Especially, I think now atheists are cool again. So, if anything, that film works better today.
Yeah. Anything with John Cleese and, like, I'm not sure, I loved all of their ones. They've done, like, Fierce Creatures and, like, Fish Called Wonder.
Yeah. Fish Called Wonder's good. I like that.
They were all... That one nearly made it on the list. It just kind of like... But this one was like, well, you know, this one I've laughed. Or there's probably maybe another one on someone else's list, maybe. But like, we'll have an honourable mention.
Sure, yeah.
Honourable mentions, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was obviously a pocket of films that we had, which was Life of Brian, Scary Movie 2,
Friday,
that we'd rewatch during our adolescence again and again and again.
Yeah,
just comic value, just quality, and obviously. But
yeah, then the film was good and the time was good. The sitting, you coming back after on a Friday night. Phil's been at work all day. We've been getting high.
Rip his Blockbuster account.
Like, Phil better come back in.
Phil gets to pay all the late fees.
Was it popcorn and a film, and then it'd just be all of us like just sitting there watching films, and that's where our love of movies come from.
Sure,
you know.
Especially the people you're around with watching it as well. It's just such a great thing as well.
I find that if you haven't enjoyed movies with your friends, then you're not a massive movie. But I've never met someone who's like, I watch movies on my own and I love them. You know, there always seem to be people. Like when you're a movie buff, all of your mates are movie buffs. You know,
definitely.
The way it goes, and we're lucky. We're all so lucky to enjoy the same things and to be able to do this sort of thing.
Exactly, 100%.
Until there was times where we'd be 20 minutes into something, and it was almost like an experiment to put it on, and we'll be looking at each other, obviously having a smoke, just going, "This isn't tickling me. Just want Scary Movie 2."
Or Monsters Inc.
Take my strong hand.
It's a shared experience, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Like The Room.
Yeah, it's a time capsule.
Well, exactly. But no one wants to watch it.
Good pick, Chris. Good pick.
Good one, definitely.
Scott, your number 4, sir.
Right, my number 4, and keeping in theme with Chris, is Monty Python's Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, yeah. That's my favourite, the Holy Grail.
Now, for me, it was a toss-up between Life of Brian and Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I was lucky then you did that then.
But for me, I don't know why, but Holy Grail just edges it a little bit.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
Just because, I don't know, like, again, when I first watched it, I was in absolute tears. There's so many great scenes. It was made by the Monty Python crew, so obviously John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, and Eric Idle and the other lot. Came out in, like, what's it, 1970s, 1977? So it's quite old.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just about ripping on the whole Holy Grail Crusaders Christianity thing in the 13th, 14th century kind of thing. And on IMDb, it's got an 8.2 rating, and I'll just give you a quick overview. So it's a comedic send-up of the grim circumstances of the Middle Ages as told through the story of King Arthur and framed by a modern-day murder investigation. When the mystical king of the Britons leads his knights on the quest of the Holy Grail, they face a wide array of horrors. So yeah, it came out in 1975. And
75, bloody hell.
But yeah, it's just, again, so many great films, so many shared experiences. We can all think of the quotes, the scenes.
Yep.
You know, the coconuts.
Racer Robin.
Racer Robin.
Only because they couldn't afford the horses.
Yeah. The Black Knight scene is probably my favourite scene in the whole thing.
My favourite part's the part when John Cleese comes over the hill but repeats it.
Yeah.
Easily.
That's my favourite part.
And the guy... and it's the cutaway to the two guards where like they're chilling.
They're just chewing and watching it.
It's like eating the apple, isn't it?
It's amazing.
And then all of a sudden, he just comes out of nowhere, just stabs
But he flat out murders all of them, doesn't he? And he's like, and this is just innocent people he's killing at the same time.
Wedding,
That's it, yes.
party, isn't
Yeah.
He's like, stop that. I mean,
sorry, everyone.
Yeah, Game of Thrones Purple Wedding's got nothing on that scene.
Yeah, that one was really close to going on, and it was, like you say, it's a top-up. I mean, I saw Life of Brian first.
Sure.
That makes sense.
But
plus you were rebelling against your school as well.
Yeah, rebelling against the school. But I was lucky enough to go and see Spam-A-Lot.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow, okay.
And Tim Curry was King Arthur.
Wow.
Awesome.
And he was brilliant, you know. So like, I've always loved it. It's just, I knew. To be fair, we were like, one of us was going to do the Monty Python, so we were like, make sure one of us did.
As long as it's mentioned,
yeah,
it's fine.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was very close to getting into my top 5. To be honest.
Told them I already got one.
Yeah, Holy Grail would definitely be in my top 10.
Yeah.
No, go away. I farted you a second time.
What's the bit with the bridge?
Oh, the
what is your favorite colour?
What is the average speed of a solo goose? Some sort of, I don't know, an African or
no, it's a
African or European swallow.
The swallow, and they're migratory. And then as well, they've got the scene where they're weighing the witch.
Yeah,
I always love that scene. Yeah. So what else floats in water? Wood. and then you see John Cleese at the front just go, burn her anyway.
Yeah, the rules for the holy hand grenade is one of the best. Like, definitely not 5. 5 is out.
Which got referenced in Worms. Did you ever play Worms?
Yeah.
And the holy hand grenade was in that. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah. The holy hand grenade of Antioch.
Yeah. Oh, and the most abrupt ending to any movie, where it just fucking ends.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I think a lot of people. I hate it when I first watched it. Actually, when I was very young when I watched it, but I grew to love it as I got older. But that end scene is amazing.
Yeah, to be honest, I was
TV to make sure it's working.
Yeah, because I was just like, how are they going to end this? Where's this going to go? You know,
where the cops come and arrest them, and it just goes to the back. and then there's no credits. There's no music. It just ends.
Could you imagine being in the cinema? I'd be like. You know,
exactly, that's what I was trying to think.
Like you were saying about the Coen Brothers film. Was that, is that it?
Yeah. The Coens are like, well, that's how it's done, isn't it?
That's how we done it. How did we get it from?
Yeah. All right, get that cup of tea.
Yeah, get that.
Anything else on that, Scott?
What's left to say? Like I say, we could sit here all day and just quote every scene, every line. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, it's a staple of not only British comedy, but just comedy in general. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure we'd all say you have to watch it. You have to. It's just the law.
It's the law.
Comedy law.
So yeah, that's my 4th choice.
Good choice.
Good choice, sir. Phil, number 4.
Okay, in at 4 for me is a film called Waiting.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
It's rated R now. It was, I think, come out as a PG-13 or 15. It's now technically rated R. It's a comedy indie film. It was on Lionsgate Entertainment, but obviously when it gets redistributed, it's on something else because obviously it's rating. Basically, it stars Ryan Reynolds, Justin Long, Anna Faris, Dane Cook, Louis Guzman, Andy Minolikis, David Kushner, which you might know from Anchorman, Whammy guy. Yeah. Basically, it's about a group of people who work in a restaurant chain called Shenanigans. In real life, we're obviously familiar with Bennigan's or Brannigan's and all that kind of stuff. So they serve food and cocktails and drinks and all that kind of stuff. It's a walk-in restaurant. Basically, it follows the journey of these disgruntled employees as they antagonise what they consider is a shit customer. So basically, they will fuck with their food or call them names behind them back. Or I'm sure Chris has got actual experiences of doing this in real life. So, for example, there's an absolute bitch that comes into the restaurant and obviously they spit in her food, put dandruff in it. All types. You can just imagine what they put in a burger. Ryan Reynolds is a standout in this because he plays a character called Monty, who's pretty much the sole main character, along with Justin Long, who hates his job and wants to be something else when he grows up. Anna Faris is worth a mention as well because she just plays, for the female side of it. She's really good. Also, it brings to light a game called the Penis Showing Game, where basically it's you've got to show your penis or balls to a person unsuspectedly, and you get to kick them in the arse 3 times and call them a certain name, which I'm not going to mention. You can watch the film.
But you have to call them that name, otherwise
It doesn't.
Otherwise, then you end up being that name.
Yeah, and I think the general premise of this film is don't fuck with people who make your food. I'm sure, Chris, you can allude to this. And if you want to add a personal experience you've had...
I don't care. They can still go and make my food correct.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, I'm not sending it back. I'm like, no, they can make it right.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. It's an indie flick, but it's really good. I recently watched Still Waiting, which is the sequel to it, but it's not a star cast. It's a bit of a B film. They kind of rehearse the jokes. Ryan Reynolds isn't in it. Justin Long isn't in it because obviously went on to bigger films. But yeah, Waiting, it's a gross out comedy, and I think you would really enjoy it because I think that was at the time where a lot of gross out was getting seen out to a point that like I say, cancel culture, and all that kind of stuff.
At the peak.
Yeah, it was at the peak. They were coming along 10 a penny back in the day, weren't they? Like you had Pineapple Express, and I thought the 90s and the 2000s were at the peak. For this type of.
Well, it was the sort of the playful antics that you do because you had it at Blockbusters.
Yeah.
And
that's how we saw it because it never came to cinema.
And you worked there for a bit, but I worked at Hollywood Bowl for a good 3-4 years.
Oh,
we
really?
had the same sort of fucking.
Yeah, it was the same
about,
counterculture type stuff.
We deep fried my boss's glasses in the, just fucking around in the cooking bit.
It's banter. It's antagonising your co-staff and your customers.
And that's what it was. And it was a good. The joking and
you could resonate with the feeling of working in retail, basically, whatever it was. Like when we even worked at Tesco's together.
But it's the people that work there. It's like if you all left at the same time, everybody would leave.
Chris, what would you do to me at Tesco's? Someone would come up to Chris at Tesco's. Right, I worked in the meat department. Chris worked in the produce, and someone would come up to Chris and go, "Oh, where's toothpaste?" And he'd come down to my aisle, point at me and go, "Yeah, go and ask him every time." And I'd be like, "Oh, Chris, you're such a sod," and he'd be at the end of the aisle just going,
and the amount of times the old ladies would come up and they'd go, "Oh, just this way," and walk past and go, "Oh, I would like to meet him down at garden."
Fans.
No, but they were the good times and they were good jobs. The last you had, and
I think
that's
your
what that movie
really
is.
helps you get through the
shit.
shit.
The job's rubbish, and your co-stars get you through the day, the week, the month to payday. It's the countdown to payday every time, and it's like everybody's happy for the first week of payday, and then people are skint, and then people start getting miserable again, and then at the end of the month, people are paid again, and then you get.
It keeps up morale. So we used to play.
But then there's one person in morale who's happy all the way, even skint.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's like at Blockbuster, we used to play a game called Called It, which is basically like a top trumps but using real life people. So so this game, I'm not going to go into it because it's our little special game, but basically it would get us through the shift sometimes at Blockbuster if we were having a real dragon shift. What else did we play? Cheese Touch. So all these familiar games that we would play, like some staff members absolutely hated it. Or remember the game where we'd print out a picture of something and stick it all around the store?
Oh, we did Steve Carell's face from
we
mentioned that on the Blockbuster episode.
Or just printing stuff out or putting stuff in, like we had things in the Dropbox or things behind the till, or sayings that we would write on the board, or
I mean we were ruthless. Like
I
mean even I took it too far one time with you when I took your.
Well, we worked how many jobs together? We worked
Tesco's.
Hang on, start at the beginning. Crawley Old Leisure Centre.
Crawley, Tubby's Fun Tub, checking for sharp objects.
Bloody hell.
We worked at Tesco's together. Then we worked at Spencer's. Then we worked at Hollywood Bowl. I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we went our own separate ways. But with the knowledge that we gained working together, that we would take that into the next job with our little games or how.
Yeah, because we were kind of lucky because we were friends, and then we went and got a job where we were working. Yeah, that was the rule. You working? Tesco's.
We used to sleep. I can't believe how you got away with sleeping for like how many hours? Like 4 or 5 hours.
Bloody hell!
But that was the job. It was the great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was quality.
It was seeing how far you can push it and what you can get, because you always had a warning. That's the rules.
Yes,
you always get a warning.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Unless you've got to be good for 3 months, and then you get your warning.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, I mean, Hollywood Bowl was on my final written warning for about 4 years.
Oh yeah, you're always like, you got thin ice, Chris. You're just like, I don't give a shit. Like, just pay me. Like, Yeah, no, it was fun.
I love those sort of jobs, and same with waiting. And that sort of film really resonates with me. It takes me back.
I love that movie. Yeah. We still quite it today sometimes.
Oh yeah,
just
the brains.
But then my mate Jono, he's a character he's my mate. He would get stoned with us, blah 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 blah, and then he came for a joint with me one time, and then the next week I went on my own. He gave me a disciplinary, and then after the disciplinary, he goes, "You coming around mine for a spot?"
Yeah, I remember that. It was me, you, John, and Ben, wasn't it? At like 3-4 in the morning, going around to either whoever's house and just getting, out of our tips that we earn, and then we're back in the next day, like, dreary face, red eyed. Do you know what I mean? You're running lanes. I'm doing bar work. Jono's obviously manager. Ben's sort of fathoming about.
I was a technician and used to lock the back door, hide in the rags out the back, the clean towels, and then there'd be so many doors that they have to open before they could find. I could even go to lane 26 and hide in the back and just sleep in the bowling lane because I know they can't turn it on because I got the lanes down. And then as long as I slept hands up, maybe like that, I looked like a working. Well, sometimes you go in there, you break something. Me and Guy would go in there, deliberately break something, and then spend 9 hours trying to fix it.
Oh, whoops! We do that at Blockbuster about it. We'd be like, it's
the popcorns
broken.
Yeah.
Especially a new line of sweets came in.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's got superficial damage.
Sorry, Grant.
Yeah, if you're listening.
And I didn't turn off the bloody Haagen-Dazs fridge. I'm fucking adamant. I did not bloody turn that off.
You did.
It cost the company
millions.
I heard that.
Well, thanks for being professional. I was professional. You're fired.
Get
out of my sight.
Definitely worth seeing. Waiting if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And if you like Ryan Reynolds, he's obviously done Van Wilder and the Switch.
He did that before, didn't he?
Yeah, I can't remember because he did Van Wilder.
That was the one he
before,
broke out with, wasn't he? Yeah.
It was like the highlight, I would say, for that kind of market of films.
Mm.
Yeah, it's quality.
Yeah, I love Waiting.
You want to add anything, Scott, to that? Or?
Not really much for me to add.
So I saw you waiting.
Oh, I see what we did there.
That's clever. No, we've all worked in those kinds of jobs. I've worked in those jobs, but just not with any of you guys. So yeah,
but you were the Warren.
Yeah, no, at Blockbuster, yeah, from Empire Records. I was the guy that never worked there, but I'm part of the. Yeah, I wanted.
Warren.
I didn't want a job there so bad. So
a good choice, sir.
Yeah,
good choice.
Right.
My number 4. This is in my top 5 because it's kind of like the film. I was at the right age for this type of film, and just going to come out and say it's American Pie, the first one.
Oh, nice.
It's obviously, if you haven't seen it before, it's about guys who want to pop their cherry, but they're going to try and figure out how they do it. They bet on one another to do it. And I was kind of like at the right age where I was still trying to pop my cherry at the same time. So to me, it was a bit of a personal experience for us, and it's got some great stuff in it. It's got some great one-liners in it. Amazing characters, which, even up to the reunion still, were a blast to watch. They even had, went on to some great sequels as well. They're not the best as one, but they were still worthy sequels to it. The soundtrack was, a fucking huge hit at the time as well. That's when all that sort of, rock was coming into it. And it's got scenes in it where I just cannot stop. I'll go back and watch it again and again and just not stop laughing. Like the webcam scene is just, some of Finch's reactions to it is like, get out of here. And, he takes his vitamins and stuff. It's just brilliant. And I can't ever get past it at all. It has to go on the top 5. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys ever liked it or saw it or...
Yeah, no, it's an absolute staple of an entire genre. It started off it started off in National Lampoon. They're the forefathers, but then American Pie updated and ran with the ball. But I want to point out my probably my favourite character in that whole film has got to be Eugene Levy as the dad.
As the dad, yes. Yeah,
wow.
Again.
I thought you'd pinned down, what's his name? Stifler, yeah.
But he's the obvious choice.
True, that's true.
I find Eugene Levy as the awkward, humour, embarrassing the son. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, would you say it's probably now you liked it? But I'm sure back then when
probably
you was a kid,
now
Stifler.
more. Yeah, probably now more.
As you've forgotten all the
I
perspective
appreciate
the
Eugene Levy humour more than I do the Stifler humour.
True. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially when he stops him in the hallway. He's like, I was just admiring the old picture here, son.
Yeah, I mean that is a great film. I mean the scene where Stifler screws over Shipwreck.
Oh,
he needs a shit.
Oh,
there's that backing tune when he's trying to shuffle down the corridor, and he's like, oh shit, and then you just see Stifler and he's cracking up. He's like,
Stifler's amazing.
He's got so many great moments in that movie.
Yeah. It's one of my favourite franchises. I want to do on when we do our podcast. I want to do a frat film podcast.
1 and 2 are brilliant.
1 and 2 are great. 3 is obviously a bit of
1 and 2,
and then they started to rehash.
Yeah,
they
did American Pie Bandcamp, American Pie.
There were straight to DVD ones. I don't ever count them. I'd say 1, 2, 3 and Reunion are.
Was the wedding one as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was number 3.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
I didn't like the Naked Mile.
It was too wacky.
It's not the best, but I think there are some scenes I can't help but laugh out, like the dance standoff and what's the other bit? When he's got to try and hide the strippers. It's a good scene as well. Yeah. Again, it's not the greatest of sequels, but it does have some good moments.
Stifler is unbelievably out of place in that film. Like, he's too animated.
It's his own film, essentially. Number 3.
He's like done a spin-off.
He's too Jim Carrey-like. You know what I'm saying? He's just he does that laugh like too. He's too animated. Like, if you watch the Stifler in 1 and 2, he's Stifler. He's
it's probably part of like the jock culture back then, like of
it's a different humour to 1 and 2.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, they desensitised him a little bit, didn't they? Made him a little bit more heartfelt, but he was a right arsehole in 1.
After school, it was like no one would hang around with him because he was a knob. I think that's what basically they were trying to.
They would use his house.
You were stuck with him at school, the loud mouth. Everybody had the party at Stifler's, and then you realise how many people you don't hang around with people at schools because of the same sort of reason, you know.
Yeah.
And then he had to be a bit toned down, but then as soon as he gets with his mates, he's back to being Stifler again, the Stiffmeister.
Yeah. Going back to the first one, though, do you ever, if you ever go back and watch it sometimes, do you ever go back and think, shit, I used to wear baggy jeans like that and, have that sort of tasty music as well, whatnot.
I love the archetypes of the film, the soundtrack, the fashion, the dialogue, all the kind of like colloquialisms of how they say things, the haircuts.
The soundtrack especially.
Yeah.
All the music back then.
Yeah, because that film is like before Cherry and after Cherry, so you do feel like
totally.
You do feel like you're like you need to get it over and done with, and then you're just like right,
totally.
Otherwise, you're just watching it. And you're just like,
It's the best coming of age film of our life, isn't it?
Yeah, especially we were all the right age for it at the time when it came out as well. So it just fitted perfectly with watching it. And the thing was that this came out the same year as She's All That, and I was like completely put off by watching American Pie because I thought it was going to be in that same sort of area as being a rom-com sort of thing. And it's like, I can't be asked with that shit, whatnot. So then when I actually watched it, and it was a completely different film. It was just like, this is, I then and then, I'll never forget it. Straight away thought this is going to be one of my favourite comedies ever, and I'm going to grow up loving this.
Yeah, it's when teen comedies were at the peak of being mainstream.
Yeah.
Like, even adults, like grown-ups watched the teen comedies because they were that good sort of thing. I mean, now, you don't really get any teen comedies now. Like as big as
not as good as that, man. No way.
American Pie is definitely a time capsule movie.
Yeah.
I think the problems nowadays, like that film would have been funny with proper editing in the. Like, is it still funny? But if they edited the apple pie, and if they kept everything, hit it. You can have all the jokes sort of thing on the trailer to get you coming of age, but you don't need to put all the best bits on the trailer.
We're
going to miss the joke. So I think that's where comedies. They would be so much better if we don't know they're coming.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this was
their reaction.
But this was pre-internet days, whereas like everything now is just on the internet. So,
but then the trailers were still trailers. You'd always see a trailer. I mean, and like they were pumped. Because was it before movies or videos? That was flooding the market. Just flooding the market now is putting it online.
Yeah.
We had as much trailers as we could possibly get. We still. I never missed a trailer really as a kid.
No, I still love trailers today. Apart from the fact that they put too much on trailers.
You go to the movies early to see the trailers, and the same. Well, you don't get it with the videos. You used to put your video on, and you get your free.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like the Red Band American version trailers with the voiceovers, and they play the soundtrack, and they play the best clips of the scene. Obviously, they introduce all the characters. You could look at that and go. Yeah, that's something I definitely want to see. Yeah. Like that, I'm booking that in now. Or let's all go to the cinema like we did on our cinema passes.
Yeah,
I think because the American Pie, it's like boom, and then I think it starts to dip back down, like the comedy because that was really really good. Our coming of age, and then they were like, right, we just need to keep making American Pie over and over and over again.
There's so many rip-offs as well.
And they've done it with girls now, haven't they?
I mean,
it's probably
same. Like, and they changed it or done it. The Hangover, like, okay, they've done like our guys now. They've grown up, having a bit, but then they rehashed that, and it's kind of like
you go through like life milestones. So much like Jim in American Pie, he's at college trying to lose his virginity, and then obviously they go to uni, and he wants to be better in bed and all that kind of stuff. And then the third one's getting married to Michelle, and then the fourth, what's the fourth? Reunion, which is almost like the crescendo.
The adult,
and then it was all right. I kind of like thought it was a good bookend.
Yeah, it was like they had to hit the maturity level.
Yeah, but I just prefer the early doors version.
Of course.
When you could just mess around, like they could get into trouble without getting into trouble. If you get into trouble, that's what you're getting arrested. Sort of.
Getting sued and shit.
It's like you have a get idea of free cars between that 16 to 18.
Yeah. That's my number
choice.
4.
Good choice.
Going to move to number 3 then.
Number 3.
Tim, number 3, sir.
Right, so this topic was going back to what you guys were doing with the Monty Pythons. Very close. I was very close to putting this in. So the 2 categories are British and crime comedies.
Interesting.
It was a tough one. This one was really hard. I wanted to put Monty Python in, but I think Monty Python for me is a league in their own. I can't differentiate them from being one of the other. That they're all in their own league. And plus, it's surrealist comedy, so I already had the surrealist bit in number 5. So I managed to find one which is a British and a crime comedy. It's a British film, but it's not based in Britain. It's in a different country. But it's one of my favourite British crime thrillers, In Bruges.
Oh,
okay.
Which I think is a masterpiece of rude comedy. When it comes to rude comedy, that one does it best for me.
Yeah.
I think the British especially are fantastic when it comes to rude comedy. I think because we're a nation of moaners, and you've got these 2 characters that go to the country moaning, well, one of them especially, moaning about tourism.
Yeah.
And he's in a different place, and he's just like, he basically wants to do the same things in England.
Yeah.
Even though he's in a different country. And then you got the other character, Ken, who's like, loves history, sightseeing. And then you got Colin Farrell being the complete opposite. And In Bruges becoming a running gag. Bruges itself is just a running gag. And then you got one of the greatest heels. What's his name?
Wow.
Yeah. Henry. Is it Henry? I forgot his name. What's the character's name? Anyway, he's like the main villain, and he's got so many good one-liners.
In Bruges.
It's like a fairy tale.
It's how straight he comes up with. It's like, I don't think he's enjoying it. Why is he not enjoying it?
Yeah.
He don't like Bruges.
When it's the scene when he's smashing that phone. His wife goes, "Dad, it is an inanimate object. You're a fucking inanimate object."
And then later on, I'm sorry, love, I called you an inanimate object.
Yeah, so many good one-liners, but I love how it has that perfect blend, like the Coen Brothers. What I was saying earlier about how they don't know how to blend like serious tone and comedy at the same time. This director, who obviously did 7 Psychopaths and 3 Billboards to Ebbing, Missouri, he knows how to pick. Yeah, but he just knows how to have that blend of like serious tone and comedy and make it both blend and work. Like that scene when Colin Farrell accidentally shoots that kid is dramatic and you feel it. And even in the scene when he's in his performance when he's crying that he's killed a kid, it's a heartfelt scene. It's like, but the director somehow is able to have that work with that dark humor as well. And like I said, when it comes to British humor, I think In Bruges does it best, especially for the rude sort of comedy. And as it comes to a crime film as well, it's a good crime film as well as a good comedy. And that's pretty much why it's at my number 3.
He's very good. It's one of those films where you don't know whether to laugh at it or not. Very dark humour to it.
Especially the scene with the dinner scene.
Yeah.
When he hits the woman, it's wrong, but it is funny. Just because he's coming out with a fucking bottle. He goes, "A bottle."
Yeah, this is it. It's like you're wrong for laughing at it.
Yeah.
It's like,
but his argument is, I would never hit a woman unless she had a bottle or knows karate.
Yeah.
No, that In Bruges is one of those films that I must admit I ate humble pie because I was like, that looks awful. The trailer, everything about it looked rubbish for me, and I was like, I don't want to watch that. And then my mate DJ was like, no, you got to watch In Bruges. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's good.
I put it off and I put it off and I put it off, and I watched it. it was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was brilliant from start to finish, and I was like, okay, that was a really, really good film. Like, I mean, I've never been so adamant of not wanting to see a film for it to be, because it was close to going on the list. It probably would have made the top 10.
Wow.
It probably would have made the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was like, because I don't think I've seen it enough. Because you quoting those bits, the bit with the ball, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the quotes for it to be,
Yeah.
you know, but I know it's brilliant because I know how much I didn't want to see it, to the point of, oh, I'll watch that now.
Yeah.
Whenever, if it's on, I'll put it on, and it's brilliant.
Yeah. Plus, it's a film that, because I don't travel much of the world, but I would love to travel the world. But I love how this film is about almost traveling to a different country. But as I said, you have that two types of tourism, the moaning kind and then the appreciation type. But when they clash, it works. There's one scene when he says, right, when I go to the tower to see the view, he goes, well, what's up there? It's the view. View of what? Well, of what's down here? Why would I go up there if it's down here?
Yeah.
I could see it from down here.
Well, we did the same thing to my mum on holiday, didn't we? She's like, well, we've got to walk up this massive hill. You're like, to see what? And she's like, the view. It's like, well, it's the same as that hill.
Yeah.
The same hill that we're looking at, you know? It's like, his logic is my logic. Like,
It takes effort.
Yeah.
Like, Bruges wouldn't interest me in going for the same. It's like, there's a lot of culture and a lot of...
Yeah, it's
in
Belgium.
Belgium.
It's like a fairy tale.
It is a fairy tale.
I only actually watched In Bruges literally roughly about a year or two ago.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how I didn't get round to watching it quicker. But yeah, no, it is good.
I love it. I think it's Colin Farrell. I mean, I think at that time he was doing like Daredevil and shit like that. Like he wasn't doing that great. But I saw him in that film. I thought, yeah, this guy is good. He could do comedy really well. And like I said, even the serious acting scenes. That scene where he's crying, like I said, is heartbreaking.
And he's amazing in Horrible Bosses.
No, I love him in Phone Booth. It's one of my favourite
Oh, that's
films.
good. Yeah. That was after.
I think he nails... anything that Colin Farrell does, I think he's... I even liked him as Bullseye. You know?
Yeah, he's definitely gotten better over time, for sure. Yeah. But when he started, he wasn't really there yet. I think in Bruce I was at the point, the pinnacle point where he was like, yeah, they're starting to realise what he is. And he's very good. I like Colin Farrell. And as I said, that writer-director, Martin, I can never say his last name, Martin something, McCoran, something like that. But anyway, he's only done 3 films. Like I said, 7 Psychopaths and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing.
Isn't Colin Farrell in that? Is he in that?
He's in 7 Psychopaths, yeah.
It's meant to be the sequel.
Kind of.
Seven Psychopaths.
It's like a spiritual sequel.
That's one of those films that's you always forget how good that film is.
That was also close to coming in my top 5 as well. The thing is, that director, like I said, he's only done those 3 films, but all 3 are just so good. I can't say what's better than 3. But I only put that one in there just because of the whole British crime, and it was like a perfect way to like have both those films in there. And like I said, Monty Python, I thought I wanted to put them in there, but it's a league on its own. But that director, honestly, he's a genius. I can't wait. He's only done 3 films.
Yeah, but don't oversaturate. If it's good, it's good. You just,
yeah.
You just need
His 4th one's going to suck now.
Yeah,
no, he's good. He takes his time. He does like
Has
each
he got another
film.
one coming out? Or?
No, I mean he takes his time. He just waits until something's right. I mean, there's like 5-year gaps between the films, so he doesn't like rush it. He's like GTA kind of thing. Like they'll take their time until it's good to be made. So he doesn't just rush to make a movie. He buys his time. So yeah, no, he's a genius. I love him. So good.
Interesting choice, sir.
Good choice.
Thank you.
Chris, number 3.
Oh, number 3. Right. Now, these ones starting to get into what I loved as in my youth.
Yeah.
Now, I could have gone for number 1 or number 2, but I've gone for number 2, and it is Hot Shots After.
Nice.
So, this film I've absolutely loved as a kid. You know, I loved the Gladiator reference, the Mr. Bean having his shoelaces tied, the fishing scene, everything about it. And I think this one over Hot Shots, because I do love Top Gun. I thought Top Gun was a great film.
Yeah.
But I love the action movie, more spoof references.
Yeah, it's a parody, isn't it?
A parody, and like the Saddam.
Yeah.
The scenes as a kid, I mean, I don't think I laughed so hard as the grappling hook over the wall, and he jumps about a foot down over. Like, I think I laughed so hard as a kid, you know, like, or the bit where he's trying to get out of the prison cell, and he basically gets all the way out of the way out.
Yeah. What's that bit when Charlie Sheen and the girl comes up the helicopter and they goes, right, which one of you is Michelle?
Yeah, pick that up. Someone can trip over that. So yeah, Hot Shots and like the scene with the limo driver, I think is one of the funniest scenes growing up. You know, it's like he's just getting his camera and his binoculars, and I think there's like an extended version where he goes back to a hotel and he's filming outside the out the window.
Is this the bird with the mole?
Yes.
Yeah, there is extended scene.
Because there's a high dive. And
that's
I was
right.
Like, where did this come from as a kid?
They cut out for TV.
She proper rides him and everything in that version.
It was PG rated then, but then it was because originally 15. Like Hot Shots 1 was a 15. Then obviously when the TV got it, they cut it down to PG rating just for like having it on the afternoons.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But there's an actor in there who plays Admiral Benson.
Oh, Jeff Bridges' dad, Lloyd Bridges.
Is it? I never know his name, but I think he's like one of the Leslie Nielsen brothers. You know, that's how
Lloyd
I've always,
Bridges is amazing.
You know, I think he's one of my favourite characters. He's so easy to love, and like he's so funny. The scene at the end where he's fighting Saddam.
And the lightsaber.
Yeah, it's like let's say it's the old Navy way. First one to die
loses.
It's genius. And I think the amount of times I watched that was one of those films that my mum would go, well, we're renting this again. Like, you know, like, yes, Mum, but you've only just given this back. Yeah, but it was like this in Jurassic Park over and over and over again. Just keep repeating, rinse and repeat. And it was like, it's just so much nostalgia for it. And
the chicken scene was my favourite.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Prince of Thieves mock-off, isn't it?
Yeah. And then when I'm watching it older, like the reference is like, he's like, oh, what are you reading? He's like, oh, Great Expectations. He's like, what's it like? And it's like, it's not all I hope for, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't get that as a kid. And you crack up later up. And
it's like with the Apocalypse Now bit with Martin Sheen driving past. I loved you in Wall Street.
Yeah, and I was like,
I never got that as a
kid.
kid.
I see Wall Street.
Yeah.
I loved you at Wall Street. Yeah. It's like...
It's great because it's
kind of over your head when you're a kid, isn't it?
Exactly. I never got that.
But that was the beauty of those sort of films. They're like, it was just so easy to watch, and I thought Charlie Sheen was funny because I love Topper Harley in the Top Gun one, you know, in Hot Shots Part 1.
Yeah.
And that's why when this one came out, for some reason as a kid, I always was so excited about a sequel, and you never really wanted to go back to the beginning. You know, I was always like, it wasn't until you're older you go, no, actually, the first one's always the best. You know?
Yeah.
Same with Home Alone 2. You know, when that came out, I just wanted to watch New York.
Home Alone 2's way better than the first. In my opinion, anyway, but...
I'd say
they're both brilliant.
Number two makes me laugh more.
Yeah.
That's better, yeah. Well, I saw 2 at the cinema. I never saw the first one at the cinema, but I saw the second one at the cinema.
Yeah, I think, and then obviously going back, I think I watched... Like there was films like I think it was a Rambo that I never watched until later, and I was like, hang on a second, this is Hot Shots, you know? The gummy bears, and,
and you can relate to the jokes now.
I can relate to the jokes of like him being in the monastery, and I was like, right, okay, I get all of these references now. And as soon as like we're doing the comedies, I was like, right, that's in there.
Yeah.
So I know that because it's been one of my favourite comedies since the dawn of time, and it was like. Right, I saw it on DVD, get 1 and 2, boom, done.
Yeah.
Good choice, sir.
Yeah, very good choice.
Scott, number 3, sir.
Right, my third choice, and again, this is where it's starting to now get to like, you have to just go, no, this is, like Chris was saying, this is one of my favourites. You know, you have to admit it to yourself. Mm-hmm. So my number 3 has got to be the first one, but Austin Powers.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Right.
Again, it's just one of them films growing up. I'm a little bit younger than like most of you guys. So when Austin Powers come out, it was just what everyone spoke about at school. I watched it a million times. There's so many great quotes.
Yeah.
It's just legend. You know, Mike Myers playing pretty much every character. Liz Hurley is also in it, who is incredibly hot.
Especially in that.
Yeah, exactly. And just, I mean, we don't need to go through all the funny quotes.
But the first one is so good because it's more adult orientated.
Yeah.
Whereas 2 and 3 went to 12 ratings and whatnot, and it was just how...
And repeated gags.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Whereas 1 is just, like I say, it's so good. Like, there's so many good quotes in it.
And that's the thing,
You're
because
talking about one International Man of Mystery.
One, not the franchise,
Yeah.
just one as a standalone.
It should just be standalone.
I wasn't allowed to see it this cinema because again the 15 range, so I had to wait till it came out on Blockbusters and watch it.
Yeah.
But everyone was talking about doing the finger like Doctor Evil and doing the Doctor, and I was like, I ain't got no clue what these people are talking about until I finally got to watch it, and I was like, this is great
$1
movie.
billion, the steamroller scene with to Smitty.
Yep.
Everything.
Is that the one with Christian Slater, the orange sherbet?
To go across the
That's it.
streets to get to
Yes, the story about the henchmen, how they have lives and stuff as well.
You know he loves being a Dr. Evil henchman.
Number 3 does have my favourite line from Michael Caine. He's like, "Do you know who I am? You know how many men I've killed? Look, you ain't got a name tag. You've got no chance, mate.
You just lie down now.
You might as well lie down, son. Go on, son.
Michael Caine does make the 3,
Bearable.
There's only 2 things I can't tolerate: problems with other people's nationalities and the Dutch.
And the Dutch.
But yeah, I mean, the first one, like someone said to me, but it's not that funny. Only Mike Myers is funny, and you go,
no.
Well, he plays like 3 characters or something, doesn't he? So he's like,
But that, yeah.
Even like number 2.
Number 1, he only plays the 2, doesn't he?
No, I mean the character.
Rob Lowe.
Number 2. Rob Lowe,
Character number 2.
Yeah. What about
sorry.
And what about Will Ferrell as well?
Yeah, he's spotted in that. Yeah.
Seth Green.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant, and I think we still quote it over and over again.
You have to mention
The steamroller scene as well.
That's the henchman.
Is one of my favourite scenes.
It's a great scene.
Or the meme, which is so frequently used now, when it's like, you're obviously into football,
Nicolas Cage.
no, the bit where he's in the tunnel with the cart, and he's backed it up so far that he can't reverse, so he's stuck between 2 walls, and all he's doing is looking back, inching, looking forward, inching.
Isn't that famous for the Man U manager?
Yeah.
Well,
It was all last year, but it got taken over from Arsenal this year, didn't it?
Scott, what's the 2 things that terrify Austin Powers?
Moles.
No.
That's 2.
2 things that scare him. Only 2 things scare me.
I can't actually.
And one is nuclear war. What's the second one?
I don't even know this one, to be honest.
I can't actually remember.
No.
It's eluded me.
Ready? Carnies.
Oh, yeah. Small hands.
Small hands.
Smell of cabbage.
But who was it? Is it Tim Robbins? Is he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he the president?
Yes.
And you suggested we blow up the moon, sir.
Yeah.
Would you miss it?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the cameos in that film as well.
Well, that's 2, isn't it? That one. Yeah,
That's number 2.
Yeah, number 2.
Oh, that's when Woody Harrelson, isn't it? When they did that film, and it's like, that's a giant big Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they repeated that one and lost it.
That's right.
Well, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it is strangely based around James Bond. So I think the first Austin Powers is almost Dr. No, isn't it? Or no,
Goldfinger, isn't it?
Goldfinger, sorry, not Dr. No.
One with the late.
He wears grey, has a bald head. Who's the villain?
Dr. No, that's Dr. No.
Dr. No, yeah. So it's
I think
loosely,
it's a mishmash.
yeah.
No, it's Blofeld, isn't it?
Blofeld.
Yeah, it's like a mishmash of like the original, say 3 or 4.
The cat stroking.
But no, he does wear the Dr. No suit in that movie as well. So
Yeah,
this is both. Yeah.
And then number 2.
They're all references, aren't they?
Number 2 is pretty much Moonraker. Just cause
because of the
and then the third one's
Alan Parsons project.
And then the third one's Goldfinger because of Goldmember.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my favourite scenes has got to be the inept guard. You know, when they throw him in a room with one inept guard, and like obviously Dr. Evil's son Seth Green's like, but you had him right here. You could just get a gun and just put a bullet in his brain. It's like,
One more out of you, mister, and you are grounded.
No, Scott, you just don't get it.
You don't get how it
Don't get it, do you, Scott? You just
You
don't.
know he's going to escape.
It's a bit.
Shh.
Yeah.
That's 2, isn't it? And 3.
Oh, that's
But
two.
yeah,
But it's a good shout, man.
It's a good box set.
Had to mention it.
Yeah, it has to be
It
done.
would be a crime not to mention
Well,
it.
we were debating this prior. Like, someone's got to mention it because it is one of
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
you know.
But I'm glad you picked the first one, though.
Yeah.
That's the first,
Obviously,
yeah.
it's what sets up
Yeah, it's
2
the
and
best one.
3. Without 1, you wouldn't have 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's a staple of its time.
And he never did anything before like that. Obviously, those, what would you call those types of films where they play several characters? Eddie Murphy did it for Nutty Professor, and they even allude to it in
Spoofs?
Tropic Thunder with Jack Black, where he's famous for playing a multi-character person. Mike Myers before that was only doing like Sorrow Mad and Axe Murderer and, you know,
Wayne's World and whatnot,
so he was from SNL and sat
Well,
there.
I was about to mention like a lot of Lee's comedies that we mentioned, especially Austin Powers and Bill Murray's involvement in a lot of the films that we mentioned, is there's a huge contingency of comedians that come through like improv classes and then go into SNL, which is Saturday Night Live, and then from there they get their break into film. So Will Ferrell, Mike Myers, you know, a whole host, a slew. Name an American comedian, 9 times out of 10, they've come through the SNL pathway to get to films.
Even serious actors have done that. With, what's his name? I've got a Mexican guy from End of Watch. What's his name?
Oh, I know who you mean.
I forgot his name.
I see his face.
Yeah.
The one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that guy's a serious actor. But then he did like, was it Observe and Report?
Yeah, that was good enough.
He was amazing. That was his first like kind of improv and comedy. But then he started doing more improv comedy.
Yeah, he got more like now serious after that.
Yeah, because he was a serious actor. He was in that like Crash movie. Yeah.
Isn't it Bob Odenkirk as well, I think it is? The guy that does Better Call Saul. I might have butchered his name. But even he came through SNL. So, you know, it's all... Yeah, he had appearances in there as well.
Just an extended sketch, really. Yeah. It's almost like SNL's the platform to, like, you know, toss about ideas and see what works and sticks. I'm sure, like, if you know Sacha Baron Cohen and the Borat thing, that came from the 11 o'clock news, and then obviously got eventually commissioned.
Well, that was Channel 4, wasn't it? UK.
Yeah, but the 11 o'clock news was the kind of like alternative show, because there was the 10 o'clock news, which was obviously a real news show. The 11 o'clock news was a comedy piece. Yeah. So all these actors compile onto these shows. Eventually, someone picks them up and says, "Oh, I'm going to commission you for $25 million to produce this film." Yeah. And obviously, they write on it as well. So obviously, Mike Myers did Shrek as well, which was supposed to be Chris Farley, wasn't it? And then he passed away, so they obviously gave it Chris Farley again, another SNL character. So yeah, it's all
connects in the end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Good choice, Scott.
Yeah.
Phil, number 3.
Okay, all right, hold on. Right, we only just rewatched this last night, didn't we?
Oh.
Just because it was on TV, and it's on TV quite a lot. It's Superbad.
Oh, nice.
From 2007, rated 15, teen comedy from Columbia Pictures. Directed by Greg Mottola. I don't really know much of his stuff, Greg Mottola. But it stars familiar faces, Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, Seth Rogen, Bill Hader, Emma Stone, and Christopher Mintz-Plasse, which many of you know if you see this film, McLovin. Basically, it's about two high school kids who are going to graduate high school and eventually move on to college. All say they want to get their end away and make it with girls. So they devise plans to get alcohol, and obviously a load of debauchery happens along the way. Most famous scenes in it is obviously the McLovin ID scene. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth seeing. I saw a guy the other day online got a tattoo of that on his back.
No way.
Of the McLovin thing. So basically it's about these two characters. One's called Evan and the other is called Zeth, because the originators who wrote it, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, obviously put themselves into these characters. It's basically about separation anxiety, because they're both going to separate colleges. Evan gets into a really good one, and Zeth is kind of a flunker, so he doesn't. So it's almost like, I hate to say this, but like Zeth's character, Jonah Hill, in it is a bit of a narcissist.
Yes,
even.
absolutely. Totally.
He wants to keep Evan back, and when he finds out that he's going to move in with Fogel, aka McLovin, he kind of, you know, he's obviously not lucky in love. They end up at a party. He understands that the girl he's bought the alcohol for doesn't even drink, so it just breaks his heart in miniature things. But I think at the end of the film he realises that he's got a quality of love with Evan, played by Michael Cera. And if you're a fan of Michael Cera, famous for Arrested Development and Youth in Revolt, and just the way he delivers himself in the way of his kind of like, how would you say, like, not laid back approach to comedy, but like the kind of like nonchalant style he has on delivery. It's just a really good film.
Nothing phases him.
Nothing phases him at all.
Kind of thing. Like he no-sells everything.
Yeah.
Like anything that would normally annoy the normal person, he'll just like shrug it off and go, okay.
He's just laid back about it.
Yeah.
Judd Apatow, if many of you have seen his films, he's a writer on it as well. But it's almost like a version of The Inbetweeners, but American. If you really look at the character concepts and the typecast they use. It's a solid film. I would say it's like coming in on the end of, again, that gross art comedies that have now been a bit short-lived. They don't make them so frequently anymore. No. I'm a big fan of Seth Rogen. Obviously, I like Freaks and Geeks and all that kind of stuff that he did. Anything they kind of write nowadays, even The Interview, Pineapple Express, all that kind of stuff. I love Jonah Hill. I love Michael Cera. I think they did... Well, didn't they cameo in a film? The three of them? Where Michael Cera's off his head and he's doing loads of coke.
Oh, this is the end.
This is the end.
He's a badass in that movie.
Yeah, so they're like the understudies.
I want the Milky Way.
But yeah, Superbad. It's always on TV at the moment. It's quality soundtrack again. I always talk about the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's good opening sound to the credits as well.
Yeah.
Two of the best supporting actors as like the coppers.
Oh, the coppers.
I was literally about to mention Bill Hadler is a scene stealer in that movie. He is amazing in that film.
Most of it's improv as well. Some of it, when they're sitting at the bar and he's talking about his wife and he goes, "Oh, my ex-wife was a whore. Oh, I met her in this bar. Don't meet your future wife in a bar," and all this kind of stuff. And then there's a scene with the bum, and then Lovin obviously does him in, and they're like, "Nice."
I love his dancing to "Fuck the Police" as well. It's pretty good. It's so badass in that.
Have you seen at all The To-Do List?
No.
It's all Bill Hader. It's about like a swimming pool in America, and obviously Bill Hader's the manager. And it's got one of the, I don't know what her name is. It's like she plays this kind of like you would know if you see
Sarah Silverman?
But no, it's not her. It's a younger version of her, basically.
Oh, Ingrid Goes West. What's her name?
Something like that. She's really deadpan and all that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, it's like Bill Hader.
Parks and Recreation.
He's in Hot Rod as well. So there's like a big community again. Brilliant. Saturday Night Livers.
Hot Rod's amazing.
I need to go to my happy place.
Yeah.
My favourite scene of all time.
Hot Rod's great. Yeah.
But I would say, I don't know, what would be your favourite scene from Superbad? Because there's so many good scenes. Even Michael Cera, when he's playing, me and Scott have this thing. He's playing Operation Windback or something while Jonah Hill's getting ready to go out, and he's playing this game. You can see him getting frustrated, and we played Operation Windback, and it's the hardest game in the world. If you get one bullet, you're dead. And he's just like, well, why'd they even make it that hard if you can't even
I think my favourite bit is when you first find out the cops are on the level, they're chasing him down. They're like, just come back, McLovin, come back.
How tall was he? Was he here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, is he?
Yeah. So we're looking for a Asian Jew, black guy in a hoodie.
Oh, he was Jewish.
Yeah. Was he like?
Yeah.
Or was he like?
Yeah.
A female? Yeah. No, it's really good. It's well written, a good dialogue. It flows very well, and I would really recommend it.
It's a fine ID.
You look like a future pedophile in this
Why
picture.
would you not pick a normal name? It just says McLovin.
Organ donor.
Take this waistcoat off, it makes you look like Aladdin.
Okay, so you're a Hawaiian organ donor. This will work. This
I like
is
the
a fine
scene.
ID.
Finally, I like the scene where Jonah Hill's going in to get booze because obviously Fogel's just been nicked. So he goes and he thinks about all the things that could happen.
Scenarios.
And there's a scene where obviously a bottle gets broken and his neck gets like
slit.
It's like that scene in True Lies with the guy in the car where Arnie hits him, but then it goes back into actual reality.
Don't do it, kid.
Even Michael Cera when he's trying to sing. Those
eyes. That scene is so good.
It's that guy crying.
Yeah, he's like, talk about the hurting.
Talk about the hurting.
Talk about the hurting.
That's probably my favourite scene.
You definitely look like... What's he say to him?
Jimmy's brother.
Yeah. That was my number three, Superbad.
Yeah, it's a good pick, man. Very good pick.
Very good pick.
I'll go to my number very quickly because we've got literally 40 minutes left to recording.
Oh, my God.
Number three was my number one for years and years and years. But I've obviously seen other stuff now to knock it off. Straight out the bat, There's Something About Mary.
Nice.
Phil, you mentioned it earlier on. It's one of those films, again, that I constantly go back to, and just like the fight with the dog and the one of the best opening scenes to a comedy where he gets his balls in a zipper, and you've got the mentally challenged Warren shouting Franks and beans, and just it is incredible. I kind of find myself being a bit moody laughing at stuff like that, but you can't help it. It's great, and everyone plays to it as well. Like what's the black guy doing? Keith Davids or something?
Keith David, yeah.
He's brilliant. I was like, how'd you get the beans above the Frank and all that sort of stuff. But do you remember when the movie came out? There was the poster of Cameron Diaz, and she had the hair that goes up. No one knew why she had that hairdo unless you saw the movie. And then when you found out why she had that hairdo, it's like, oh, okay, we get it now.
I was just about to mention that comedy scene is one of the most referenced, talked about scenes in all comedy.
Yeah.
Like it's referenced in so many other things now. It's like.
So if you mention that film, everyone thinks of that one scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you've got a good startup line. I mean, you know, Ben Stiller's in his prime. Cameron Diaz is just getting into it. Matt Dillon's
awesome.
is amazing now.
He
Lee
steals
Evans
it.
is
Lee
Lee
Evans,
Lee Evans, but he's great in
I
that
love
film.
his ID in that.
Yes,
you know?
yeah. I love her, man.
Mate, yeah.
You hurt me, goddammit.
Mate, him trying to pick up the keys. Is,
It's just one of the best.
Don't worry, I've done this 1,000 times.
Yeah, like I said, it used to be my favourite, but it's definitely got to be on the top 5.
You know the two guys that singing it out of scene in it, so they're always in the background.
Oh,
yeah, and they're in Kingpin as well. Yeah,
I forgot to mention it.
I don't know if they're like the
Farrelly
Farrelly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are they in? Because I've only seen Me, Myself, and Irene once. Are they in that as well?
I don't know if
I think their song might be it, but they're
songs
not
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 3 set. So.
Nice, good one. Oh, right.
Number 2.
Right. So, my number 2 is based on these two genres, buddy movies and feel-good films.
Okay.
So I found one that perfectly encapsulates both these categories. Something tells me this might clash. I think, you especially, I think this might be in there. But the best buddy feel-good comedy of all time for me, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah,
it's not mine.
Good choice.
Good choice, but it's a good choice.
Yeah. There is no, there is no better feel-good film because that ending will always make me feel great. And as buddy movies go, those two. I love Steve Martin. He's just one of the greatest arseholes to watch on screen. He's such a bastard, and I love it. With John Candy, you just have that. He's that childlike wonder, and anyone can relate to that. But I love the kingship. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
It's great. It's both of them just have this amazing chemistry together. Their clash is genius, and I just think John Candy and Steve Martin are the best in this film. So there's no comparing. That's the best feel-good buddy comedy of all time for me.
It's got so many like comparative means in it. If you don't notice, like Family Guy will reference it now and all that kind of thing. You know the scene with what's the where he recognises him in the taxi, and then obviously they're in the airport.
The reenactor.
It's much like Peter Griffin, isn't it? Like that character.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is, I want to point out is Tim mentioned that John Candy is the nice guy and Steve Martin is the bastard or the intolerant.
Yeah.
But you could argue it's the other way around because in a way, John Candy it lacks like picking up on social cues.
Yeah.
Like John Candy's like too much. He becomes intolerant after a while. He goes on and on and on. He's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
And then Steve Martin isn't an arsehole. No. He just wants to get home.
But there is this self-centeredness to both of them. It's almost it's a therapy for both of them.
Yeah.
They're both working each other and helping each other get through this. And this is where the feel-good comes in. Like the ending is just so nice, and I can't help but feel John Candy's face, that freeze frame. It's just awesome.
The fade to black shot.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the hardest one. This is the toughest one for me because this is the one I cut. This is when I say I came in. I feel like I was really hard to cut.
Oh, really?
What I've done, and this one was my one. Like, because I took it off the list. And I was like, maybe can I fit 6 in? Can I fit 6 in? No. The bit you're going the wrong way.
You're going in the wrong direction.
Like that scene where he gets trapped in the steering in the seatbelt. I mean, I laughed about that. And then I was driving down the 25 and I tried to take my jacket off and I kind of got caught up
on the way.
But I was finding it bloody hilarious because
of the situation.
I was like, I had to ring my mate and go, I did it. I got trapped in the I got trapped in the steering wheel. It happens.
I love that bit when they go between two trucks and there's that quick flash of them as skeletons.
John Candy is the devil.
I got Visa. I got gasoline.
Diners. And I got a
Casio.
That's a great choice.
The hotel scene as well. Oh, I love the hotel scene. Is that bit when there's like they wake up, they're next to each other in bed? It's like, Dale, why did you kiss my ear? Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between 2 pillows. Those aren't pillows. So a game last night. Hell of a game. The
scene that pops up to me, and we reference it quite a lot is when they're on the bus and he's like, "Oh, sing a song," and Steve Martin's like, "3 coins in a fountain,"
I love
and
that.
everyone knows it.
And then Flintstones meet the.
And
like,
the look on Steve Martin's
I relate to
face.
Steve Martin because fucking that is amazing. But it's amazing.
She don't mind. She's short and skinny, but she's strong. Her first baby come out sideways.
She just scream or nothing. There was, because obviously buddy movies. There was one in particular that I was so close to putting there, but it just topped it a little. I might say it. I'll leave it till we do to the honorable mentions. But yeah,
would you be interested with if Paramount released the 3-hour cut?
Absolutely, it needs to happen. It really does.
Yeah,
it's like bring it.
Yeah, because I reckon they've cut the scene
massively
with the woman. Like they've edited that.
Yeah.
So,
you know, like fucked.
Yeah.
That probably goes on for a good hour.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know the scene when the burglar breaks in and steals the wallet. That's not a burglar. That's a pizza delivery boy. There's an entire sequence where there's a scene before that where they order pizza and the pizza is unacceptable to Steve Martin's character and he's not going to pay for it. So the delivery boy gets pissed off. He doesn't pay full payment. So the pizza delivery boy then breaks in and then steals their money. But if you look at that scene before it, there's a scene where they mention about the pizzas and the beers and so, but you don't see it. But they talk about it in the scene.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole sequence of that missing. But that
one was really, really good. It was either going to be that one or Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. It was
that was also
the choices I had.
That was my buddy one as well, to be honest.
So, Chris, you're willing to watch Planes, Trains and Automobiles if they did it as a 3-hour?
Oh yeah,
but you're not willing to watch The Room.
No, but The Room hasn't got John Candy in. Anything with John Candy.
If it had John Candy, I would have been all over it.
I would have been. It would have been funny, and it would have been good. No, that was a good choice.
Good choice, mate.
Great choice.
You're number 2, Chris.
Right, this one was my number 1 forever, and then I was like, no, it can't be. It could be, but it's an old film because it's classic, and it's one of the first original spoofs that I saw, and it's called Airplane.
Nice, yeah.
So,
okay, yeah.
Airplane. I mean, I reference a lot with my other friends. It's one of those things like, if I'm having a bad day, you know, it's Macho Grande. You know, it's how bad a day you having? Like, it's Macho Grande Day. You know, like, and just things. I watched it as a kid, and like I think remember watching the guy waiting in the taxi becoming a skeleton. I was laughing my head off at that. The Israeli or the Palestinian guards running through with bazookas and they stop the old granny. That was all brilliant, and like the smoking and non-smoking, and then you get older and you start understanding. Oh, I speak jive. And you're like. And the reference with the kid in the basketball, he's like, you tell your old man, you try running your ass up the Gale Court for 90 minutes, and it's back to being a pilot, you know. It's like the comedy in that is great, and I think the air traffic controller and his buddy, like I quit the wrong day to quit smoking, you know. Like,
Lloyd Bridges again,
it is, isn't it? Yeah, like I think it was one of the first comedies I remember watching that with my cousin, and it was like. Yeah, I just loved it, and still to this day, if it was on, I'll always
put it on.
Easily.
Did you like the sequel?
I like the sequel.
I did,
not as good.
But it's not number 2. There are some proper standout funny bits.
William Shatner for me in number 2 is the only good thing about number 2. More than the first one, but the first one's easily better.
Yeah, and the appreciation of the slutty Catholic girl, you don't know that you know, like, I just don't want to die.
What's that scene in the first one when the pilot walks in the airport and there's always people trying to sell him stuff? He's just kicking the shit out of him as he's walking along. There's that one guy that shouts out Scientology and more nuclear power.
The captain walking through and he just beats up
everyone
like the Hare Krishnas. He beats up about 6 of them, doesn't he? He's like, pow.
It's he grabs at one guy and then flips over. It's badass.
Like from start to finish, like it just cracks me up. You know, it really does, and it's one of those things like it has that nostalgia for me. It reminds me of my childhood, and I'll always love that film. I think. Yeah,
it was a BBC One like late night.
Well, it was always
always on BBC.
Yes.
When I was a kid,
you only had 4 channels as a kid, and
that was it. Yeah,
that was it. If it was on
back in our day,
you're sneaking on, put a towel underneath the the door lights to stop your mum seeing the TV being on, you know.
And you'd have the control right with you, so you can
what do you mean, control? I didn't have
to touch the telly.
Yeah, but you'd learn how to go across your flooring without making a noise, so you could go boom and then get back into bed.
No, but I mean, it was a really good. It was as soon as we said, doing comedies, I was like, right. Yeah. It was already on the list, you know. It was like,
was it number one on the list for a bet?
It was a number one.
I'm intrigued now. What's going to top that? Because that seems like on a personal level. That's on yours.
Yeah, but then number one just totally smashes this one out of the water. Okay, personal. Which
Airplane 2.
Yeah.
And Scott, quickly on that as well, you have to mention the most famous line in it. Don't call me Shirley.
Leslie Nielsen at his prime.
We have to mention that.
It's a classic gift that always you can't be serious.
Just want to say good luck. Well, Karen.
Please don't.
Nice one.
Nice.
Scott,
now.
you're number 2.
Right, my number 2 and my number 1 are literally interchangeable. So it's like, this is a number 2, but it could have been 1, and my 1 could have been 2.
Cool.
So my number 2 has got to be Basketball with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It's got to be. Like, how much do we quote this film?
It's the most quotable film we use in our lexicon, isn't it?
You know, they came out in 1998, and it's creators of TV shows South Park, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. David Zucker, who directed Naked Gun, directed this. Real Big Fish appeared. The American ska band appeared with a song called Beer in this film. And Yasmin Blythe also co-starred, who is from Baywatch. But again, just watch this as a kid, and just so many great scenes, so many great quotes. Obviously, the character of Squeak just gets screwed constantly. The gifts, just everything.
Just the psych outs. I love the psych outs. Nothing does better.
Yeah, it's a baseball game ultimately.
So
it's converted into baseball
so
rules.
basically, the premise of the film is they're two mates growing up. They never got to play baseball or basketball, so they go to like a college party. Everyone they know there from their college has now succeeded in adult life. They realise that they're losers. They are
still hanging out playing Nintendo.
Cock. They then play these two jocks. They get challenged at basketball 2-on-2. They then realise that the jocks are really good at basketball, so they make up this new game that they made on the streets. And basically, they make the rules up completely on the fly, and it's a cross between basketball and baseball. And even though they then win this game, they don't get the chicks, and they realise that they need to become successful to get the chicks. They get first you get the khakis, then you get the the line? You get the chicks. So then they create this new game. It goes from being yard game to successful. It then gets franchised. The heel in it is anyone can remind me who the heel is in it?
I'll be honest, I've not seen baseball in a very long time.
Yeah, same as.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now.
He wants to basically buy all the teams and franchise them.
The Hustle.
Yeah, it's Guy from Hustle.
The old guy who does the marks, in the Hustle, the BBC programme?
No,
it's
I can't remember his name. You see his face and go,
it's
a good hill.
Is it Rob something?
It might
be. But he wants the basketball league to be completely like you can sell any player to anyone and make as much money as possible from it. But the original creators of it, obviously Matt Stone, Trey Parker, want to keep it rudimentally roots level. So there's that kind of like much as we're seeing in the Premier League now.
Was he in Superman 3 as well?
Superman 3. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. guy?
I think it might be actually.
It's the guy from Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, because it's him in it and Jennifer McCarthy.
Robert Vaughn.
That's it.
Robert Vaughn. Yeah,
Robert Vaughn.
Towering Inferno is in as well.
Yeah.
It's a film.
Yeah.
But just it's so many great quotes. Is there any scenes that stand out to anyone from it? Or?
No, dude,
it's been too long since I've seen it, so I can't remember much.
It's been like a decade since I last saw it, to be honest.
Screwing over Squeak. Some of the psych outs are decent.
My favourite bit is where Coop goes off and no one knows where he is. And Unsolved Mysteries guys, and he could be the artist rendition of him being Mr. T.
Yeah.
Option number 2. Coop went to Disneyland.
It was a great choice.
Oh,
nice, mate. Phil, number
Okay.
two, sir.
My number 2 is a film starring Jim Carrey, Danny DeVito, Jerry Lawler, and Courtney Love. It is by the name of Man on the Moon, coming out in 1999.
Good choice.
It's 15, and it's a drama/comedy. Basically, it's a biographical journey of a late comedian, Andy Kaufman, who was very famous in the 70s and early 80s. He passed away in 1984. Due to lung cancer, I think. Basically, it's Jim Carrey playing the role of Andy Kaufman and all the things in between. So it shows him starting at the base level of the comedy scene route, so starting in clubs and pubs and all that kind of stuff. Alternatively, he does play 2 characters in it as well. So one's almost like a foreign character with a Russian accent type thing, and the other one is an antagonistic character called Tony Clifton. But he both markets them as independents, so he can make more money from the networks. Danny DeVito in it is his managerial agent, and also in it, which is a real life scene, is the Jerry Lawler feud that he had, which actually happened in real life with Tennessee Wrestling or something like that, and it was on the it wasn't Letterman show.
I think it was Memphis Wrestling.
Memphis Wrestling. Yeah. Basically, there's this famous scene where they do a work on the Letterman show or whatever show. I can't remember what it is exactly, but there's slapping and name calling, and it actually happens. So if you want to research that on YouTube, you can. Andy Kaufman, which liked to sort of play with lines of reality in the fourth wall stuff. So Jim Carrey is probably the person to play that role. He method acted the thing. There's also a documentary on it.
That's the one.
Andy, with Jim Carrey completely staying in the method as he was even getting his makeup done. So I'd say Man on the Moon. It's a mixture of drama, comedy, heartache.
Dramedy.
Dramedy, as you would call it. There's a lot of like high scenes, low scenes in it. Courtney Love being in it as the love affair. Danny DeVito, who's obviously always like a quality assured actor.
Which is weird because he was on a TV show with Andy.
It's
Taxi or something?
Yeah. So, and they reference
it's kind of nice,
It goes through, like I say, the late 70s, early 80s, his battle with cancer. Everyone thought that was a work. He was faking it to gain, interest. There's a woman who dies on stage. But see it, watch it. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
I almost had then. It was from the true story categories. There was that. There was Edward as well. But,
Edward's good. I love that film.
It's almost like gave Jim Carrey back then that kind of plausible appreciation that he was doing bigger roles, much like Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler. He was taking on, he took on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or The Truman Show or The Majestic. He was trying to grow his stock because obviously before he did Mask, Ace Ventura.
Yeah, he wanted to branch out.
He's brilliant in that. Everyone loves Phil Morris.
I love Phil
Morris. He's amazing in that as well.
I like Jim Carrey. I don't care about the press that he gets now. I think he's one of those entities that's going to be appreciated.
I watched this one on your recommendation because it didn't look like a film I'd enjoy, but it really was good.
Well, cliffhangers at the end, doesn't it?
It was a great film, a great ending. And then I made my mum watch it. She loved it. Yeah.
It's a thinker. It allows you to appreciate. We're born. I'm born 83. You're 84.
Because you still don't know how it ends, and it's kind of like it's.
Because he had Paul Giamatti as his co-writer in it.
Definitely worth the watch, though.
It's just got a good star cast. It's presented well. The flow of it's really well done. The music as well. It's got R.E.M. And if you ever listen to the song "Man on the Moon" by R.E.M., you'll hear that it's about Andy Kaufman. I was showing this to Scott yesterday, and he didn't believe me, so I played it. And the first line is Andy Kaufman in a wrestling match. So it's just so clever. And you can see it from the opening scene that Jim Carrey or Andy is into
him up, didn't it, this film?
Yeah,
it really did.
Because people wouldn't believe him, and everyone
he stayed
thought
in character the entire production, and he caused a lot of problems.
He would still antagonise Jerry Lawler on set, acting as Andy Kaufman, calling him names, trying to rile him up. Yeah. And obviously Jerry Lawler almost felt like he was reliving that hurt of having that feud with Andy Kaufman. And there's all these videos online where they're going back and forth. It's crazy how they manifested this feud online, because online there wasn't online back then. It was all news media and networks. So you had to cause some controversy. And what does Eric Bischoff say? Controversy creates cash. So there was a way of doing things back then to antagonise your audience.
It was innovative.
Yeah, it was very innovative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just love how egregious the Tony Clifton character is. Like, how polarising is from Andy Kaufman. He created this other ulterior ego that was complete opposite. Even the little things where he's singing the song in the club.
And he can't sing.
He's completely butchering it. Like, So good.
It's good.
Yeah, nice.
So
Good
good.
choice.
Man on the Moon in at number 2.
Nice,
mate. So very quickly, my number 2, straight off the bat, is The Burbs. I friggin' love The Burbs, and still to this day is my favourite Tom Hanks film. I don't care.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, Same Private, ain't got shit on The Burbs.
I love how the AIDS film. Yeah, I love it.
Exactly. Ain't got anything you want an Oscar for. No. The Burbs is the best. It's one of those, one of those films where he had a bit of everything into that, because it's got horror elements, it's got serious elements, it's a flat out comedy, full stop. But how it just throws it all into one film and works so fucking well. There's always that thing where you lived in your street where someone or a neighbour or whatnot, no matter where you lived, whatnot. I mean, it just had that thing where you could relate to it in a way, like you was on like the neighbourhood watch or whatnot, and it's one I grew up with. It used to be one of those BBC One afternoon things that would come on. And it's, again, we're going back to the more you watch it, the older you watch it, the jokes you appreciate and can relate to. And it's just such a fun film. And, you know, if there's not one part of it, like how you get past the sardine level, scene without laughing, I have no idea. It is a cracking film and just one of my favourites to the end of the time.
I always got mixed up with that film. At the time, I think they released at the same time, but that and People Under the Stairs.
Yes.
Because
the gold coins.
You know what I mean? What's the character who plays Michael Jackson in Bad as the kid?
Chris Rock?
He's in People Under the Stairs, isn't he? You know.
I know. Yeah. I can't think of the name. Yeah.
And I always got confused. Those two were the same, and then obviously watched them years later, and I was like, no, they're two totally different films.
Exactly.
Because The Burbs is about,
a weird family.
Yeah. Just when you're young, everything just mushes together, doesn't it?
This is it. It's just like
it's Goonies territory almost at that.
Actually, and it's just that the comedy just works so well. And you know, Tom Hanks, his character alone, he's like the serious guy, but you can't help but laugh at what he does and how he does it.
Seeing him aggravated is the best.
Yeah, and like just like saying no to a bone that he finds, and there's still some sort of thing you can't help but laugh at the same time. It's like he does it, he manages it well, and it's a cracking
Flushing
one.
those beer cans.
Yeah. Do you feel better now?
Yeah.
So yeah, Tim.
Oh,
gonna be to number 1 now.
It's number 1.
Right, so
I've actually done pretty well not clashing, by the way.
Yeah, so far.
So we've done pretty well.
So far, so good. Right, so this next one is the categories of farcical comedies and screwball comedies. So the most easiest comedies to go to, easy, it's like you don't even have to think. You just put them on, it's there. So out of all of them, it had to be a Bill Murray film, only because Bill Murray is the best.
The king,
the legend. And it may not be one that you expect, but for me, What About Bob?
Whoa! I did not see that coming.
No, I guarantee a lot of people. Everyone expected like Stripes or Groundhog Day.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Those were up there, and like obviously like the ones I mentioned, the genres. I could have just done a top 5 of Bill Murray films from all those genres.
Yeah.
Like the rom-com could have been lost in translation. I honestly could have done top 5, but
is that the one with Richard Dreyfuss?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Bill Murray in this film. Is genius. He has every single mental health issue. He is he's scared of everything pretty much. He thinks he has every illness known to man. He is absolutely unbearable to be around. And then you got Richard Dreyfuss, who is the psychiatrist, who has this massive ego, and he even struggles to help Bill Murray. Have any of you actually seen this film?
Yeah, a long time ago, but yeah.
It is
follows
amazing.
him away on holiday, doesn't he?
I literally watched this about a month ago.
Yeah.
So it's fresh in my mind as well.
It's great.
Because Tim recommended it to me. I must point out the scene that popped me the most was when he's choosing what photo Richard Dreyfuss is going to take. Is either him in front of a gun or him in front of a bust.
Mate.
And just the poses are so good. I'm fucking pissed off.
For me, as much as I love Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss almost steals the film for me. I love his character. His family obviously really love Bill Murray as a character, even though to an audience he is clearly insane and unstable as a person, and the family love him more than the rich, successful husband who is, maybe a bit of an egomaniac, but he has sensibility to the point.
Yeah.
But again, it's another almost like Painted Chernobyl. It's the therapeutic characteristics of two people clashing, but then helping each other out grow towards the end of the film. But not so much in this one, where it's all about he gets screwed. Richard Dreyfuss gets screwed all the way to the very end. No comeuppance, no well done.
Even the first scene of the film, you see, the previous therapist palm off Bill Murray's character Bob to Richard Dreyfuss, and as soon as he actually gets rid of him, like this guy's so relieved as like a therapeutic like practitioner because it's just impossible.
Yeah, that's number one.
Nice, mate.
Right, my number one is from 1988, I believe. It's from a director called Robert Zemeckis, and it's pretty much one of my favourite films of all time. And it stars Bob Hoskins. It's called Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yes, of course.
This one,
Judge Doom himself, of course it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah.
This one goes like I was looking at it. I was thinking this would have been this would have been on my all-time greatest films. This would have been on my favourite kids films. This would have been on my. And I was like, well, this has to be. And I watched the intro on YouTube in the beginning, the cartoon, and I pissed myself. And I was like, right, this is going on. You know, the cartoon, and then all the scenes with Bob just on his own. You don't realise that he's on his own, and he steals everything. And Roger, he's one of the greatest characters, never to go any further. You know,
he came out of nowhere.
It's great, and you had all the Looney Tunes and the Disney on, and like the deals that Spielberg managed to get like I think each Disney character was
all into one room,
you know, and like they had to have Bugs and Mickey on exactly the same time for the same amount of screen time, and it's just brilliant. The animation, I just
broke ground
for its time.
What's the film that predated that? It's like Mad World or Crazy World, and it's like a
Cool World.
Cool World. That's
Terrible.
But I like now I'm a dad. I cannot wait for my boy to be old enough so I can watch this with him. You know, I just what like how good it made me feel. Even now, just talking about it, I love this film, and Christopher Lloyd is one of my favourite villains. Is like. One of my favourite characters. Like he's scary. He doesn't blink once in that film. The Judge Doom.
Yeah, you played him. You did fancy dress.
You were a fantastic Judge Doom.
So this one, I was like, okay, so it's like family comedy, and then I've been watching this film for nearly 30 years, you know, so it had to be on there. So
good choice. Sir.
Did you notice at all the tunnel scene in it?
Yeah,
that's the same tunnel from Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
It is,
The only
thing
thing that I heard that would have been made this film better was Bill Murray was. They really were meant to get him as Valiant instead of Bob Hoskins.
I would say that would have been better.
But it would have totally different film.
Yeah, you know, it would have been different. But I mean, like you said, Bill Murray in anything would have been great. But Bob was brilliant, and I love his deadpan. The scenes in the club, everything about it. And then when you watch it older. You get all the, you're like, I'm not bad. I was just drawn this way. You know, you get that reference as an older person. Yeah. I mean, I could talk about this film for ages, but I absolutely love it. And if you haven't seen it, well, you
fucking watch it.
Get out there. It's great.
Yeah,
nice.
Good choice, sir.
Scott, number one, sir.
Right, my number one, absolutely irrefutable, had to be Billy Madison.
Okay.
It had to be. I've watched that film probably more times than any other film in my life. Again, so many great quotes starring Adam Sandler, SNL, Chris Farley's in it. It came out in the mid-90s. It's just brilliant. The bus scene of Chris Farley, the Doyles.
I forget Chris Farley's in that. Yeah.
Obviously, Eric, the heel in it. And well, technically...
What's the premise?
The premise is he's a rich kid. He's a flunk. He wants to prove... His dad's palming off the company. He's giving it to Eric, who's one of his main executives. He's obviously evil. He doesn't like him. All throughout the show, all throughout the film, him and Eric are going at each other, even at the beginning with the dinner scene. So eventually Adam Sandler challenges this Eric guy to a 12-week challenge where Adam Sandler has to go back to school to pass high school and college, and then if he does that, he gets the company from his dad to try and save the company's name.
Much like Roger Dangerfield film Back to School, which has sort of the same premise, but you know.
And obviously, all throughout the film, Eric's trying to curtail his efforts. And it all climaxes to a academic decathlon at the end. And I won't say too much about it more because just watch it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think it coincides with Happy Gilmore as well.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it
goes
is Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, I was umming and ahhing Happy Gilmore, but for me, Billy Madison just edges it, much like the
you and me quote Happy Gilmore shitloads, so that's why I was waiting for Happy Gilmore.
I never hear you quote Billy Madison, so I was shocked, to be honest.
Because I don't find that I don't know, like if you like Billy Madison as much as Happy Gilmore, so that's why I don't quote it.
That's true. That's true.
But for me, I just love Billy Madison.
That's good.
It's just great.
Nice.
End of.
Good choice.
Well done. All right, that's cool. Right, my number one film, and I've chosen this out and out because it's a modern film. It doesn't go old school. It's Idiocracy from 2007. Nice. 15 comedy sci-fi by 20th Century Fox, and the director is Mike Judge. For those who know him, he is the Beavis and Butthead creator, and he also did Office Space.
Yeah.
He also now does Silicon Valley. He's one of my favourite satirical creators. I love Beavis and Butthead, but Idiocracy is basically about. It's got Luke Wilson in it. It's got Terry Crews. It's got Maya Rudolph and Dax Shepard. Again, the SNL crew appear on this. Basically, Luke Owen works for the military, and he gets put into a military experiment which cryogenically freezes people for 1 year. Unfortunately, during that 1 year, the whole department gets knocked down and his chamber gets buried under all the rubble. So technically, he gets frozen for 500 years. Wakes up in the future, everyone is dumber because everyone over time has reproduced dumber offspring. So he is technically the smartest person alive. There's many scenes in it that I'm not going to go through now. You have to watch it because it's just, there's scene after it where if you're a thinker about modern politics, you'll see the jokes. Terry Crews is the president in it, if you know Terry Crews.
Oh, Terry's amazing.
He's awesome in it. And also it has Earl Mann, which is a very famous voiceover actor from Canada who basically does, so it has officiality to it. It's almost like, it feels like a docudrama, but with elements mockudrama, basically. Yeah, sitting parody and all that kind of stuff. Dax Shepard plays an idiot in it, who's Luke Wilson's best friend. It basically curtails to a point where basically the smartest man alive, Luke Wilson, will take over presidency or tries to help them out with their drought or problem because they're so dumb they can't figure it out for themselves. It's got many kind of like what you would consider like below the belt kind of jokes. So I'm not going to say it's a clever comedy. I just think it works basically on the premise that it's stupid. It's an easy flick.
It's a
to
screwball.
Watch.
It isn't.
Yeah, it isn't. It has levels to it.
It works now today. To watch it now, I think works with this in this current climate.
Yeah, in this current climate, it's just well done, and I think the budget was kind of cut for it. So you'll see scenes in it where it's not as well. What would you say? Like, some of the future scenes are a bit cut down and all that kind of stuff. But I would say, like, actors in it that I really enjoyed was Justin Long in it. Again, he was in Waiting. He just plays this kind of off his nut doctor and all of it. It's just a brilliant film. It's like I say, if you like political satire, I would strongly recommend Idiocracy.
And do remember that Upgrade is spelt with 2 Ds.
For a double dose of pimping.
Nice.
He's coming for his money.
Yeah.
Good choice, man. Good choice. I've never. I don't know. I remember that being on the shelves in Blockbusters, but I never ever watched
Honestly,
it. I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Watch it tonight.
You know what? You probably find it much more funny, especially the way the world is now.
I never knew Mike Judge was involved in it. That's why I never really. I just thought it was like one of those cheap comedy, straight to DVD sort of things. So that's why I never really gave it a go.
I love when things deal with like almost like retardedness and I know that sounds bad, but like not like
the
Rain
Ringer.
Man or the Ringer's on that level of like, oh, do I laugh at this? Do I don't?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you must love this podcast then.
Yeah.
Anyway, very quickly, my number one. I'm very surprised it wasn't on your list, sir.
It's number 2. I got a feeling I know what it is.
Go.
Is it Weekend at Bernie's?
Yes. Weekend at Bernie's is by far my number one.
It was number 2, close to number 2, because it's a buddy feel-good film as well. But
absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
Weekend
just
at Bernie's now. It's nice.
One of those ones, again, it was on TV all the time and grew up with and just love to appreciate it now.
Yeah.
If you don't know the premise of it, it's basically about 2 losers who find out their boss is screwing them over the company, so he figures it out and sends them over to the weekend at his place, but is going to kill them all.
Yeah.
Turns out that Bernie's the guy who dies in the end, and they have to pretty much live with this dead body and convince everyone that he's still alive. And some of the stuff they come up with is just genius. It's absolute classic comedy. And there's one of my favourite scenes of all time in it, comedic wise, where one of the losers is making out with his girlfriend on the beach on the shore, and Bernie's dead body just washes up with the waves, looks at him dead-eyed, and it's like, and then washes back away before she can even turn to see that. What is he like? Oh, what's he? Oh my god! For
it's his reaction as well. It's like, oh my god, this can't be happening.
It's the straight face Bernie keeps as well. Like, what's his name?
Terry Kisser.
He is by far the best pick to play as Bernie, and simple things like tying their shoelaces on his legs to make it look like he's walking and whatnot. The shades, everything.
The
it's
toupee.
Just exactly
the boat scene when he's getting like driven and just like hitting into objects.
Yeah, it's just it's like, how can you not laugh at it? It's a brilliant. It's 80s prime comedy. 80s at this prime, and it's just it's great.
Combines buddy and slapstick.
And I love number 2. I don't care what people say. It's not as good as 1, but 2 has a cracking soundtrack as well.
I came in on 2, and realised it was number 2, and then had to go backwards. But then when you see the second one, you go backwards, and it just doesn't match up because there's the early 80s and then the mid 80s and the late 80s. So like, it's
exactly.
Yeah,
that's why mine's got to be number 1. We'll do honourable mentions very quick. Guys, I'm so surprised no one clashed on that. Very surprised. Yeah. No one clashed.
Awesome.
Amazing.
I'll go to mine very, very quickly. So mine was, I was going to put in What We Do in the Shadows, Home Alone 2, Happy Gilmore, Scott. And I know someone mentioned it earlier Friday, but I like Next Friday. Next Friday is one of my favourites.
But not the Friday after next.
No chance.
Yeah. So we've pretty much mentioned most of these throughout them to us. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I don't know if anyone's seen that one.
Yeah, that's Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. Yeah. I think that's Sam Rockwell's best comedy. Edward, obviously, I mentioned that before. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, another good one.
Oh shit! Yeah.
The Three Amigos, Stripes, Anchorman, Dodgeball, Caddyshack. There's loads.
Three Amigos, man.
I know, there's almost too many.
I got a couple, Dumb and Dumber and Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, of course.
That was almost in the British one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was Kevin and Perry Go Large.
Yes.
Blackball, because I'm originally from
Nice.
And just every time I see that, it just reminds me
Mel
of
Smith's
home.
last movie.
Yeah, Loaded Weapon.
Nice.
And,
National Lampoons.
No, the one with Emilio and Esther.
Yeah, that's it. National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon. Yeah.
And it's gone. Oh, Saving Grace.
Oh, nice.
Film.
Yeah.
Okay,
or any sort of like that British, like The Boat That Rocked. I really like those sort of classy.
British Guild.
Yeah.
I had American Pie, Tropic Thunder, Shaun of the Dead, Rat Race, Coneheads,
yes.
Tommy Boy, Office Space, Anchorman, Just Friends, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Borat, Overboard, because I just love that film from the 80s. Yeah. And one of my kind of out of the directory, but Slackers.
Is that the one with Kurt
Slackers.
Russell?
Yeah.
And It's All Gone Pete Tong, because you...
Yes, I love that film.
I thought that was going to be in your top 5.
Yeah, it was going to be. It's in the top 10.
Like those, they're not comedies, but they're like, they're just...
I laugh my head off.
Yeah, I do laugh, but they're not...
Yeah, they're not out and out.
Comedy,
they're drama comedies, not comedy dramas.
Yeah,
exactly. Scott, you
and The Great Outdoors.
Yeah, oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, I can't believe that.
I could have just had a top 5. You could have just had a top 5 of Murray.
John Candy.
I could have
Candy,
just had a top 5 of Candy without him
Easily.
actually being in my top 5, and that's why I feel really.
Yeah,
I feel a bit conflicted.
That's why I had Planes, Trains at second.
A couple others, Kung Pao. Another Hood, which I know Chris likes a lot.
Oh,
never seen.
Sorry, I can't believe I forgot that. Another Hood is brilliant.
Spaceballs.
Mel Brooks. Oh man,
Ace Ventura, In the Loop.
Oh, In the Loop. Death of Stalin.
Death of Stalin. Anchorman, we've mentioned. Harold and Kumar, I think, deserves a mention. Definitely. I mean, there's so many. Step Brothers, I could reel them off.
Step Brothers, of course.
Yeah, Talladega Nights was my favourite one after Anchorman.
Oh, the Will Ferrell Day. Yeah.
He was a man. He had a beard.
And now the Matador will dance with the blind shoemaker.
And anything with Ben Stiller when he plays a heel. So Dodgeball,
Happy Gilmore.
I was going to put Heavyweights in, but because I've used it in prior ones,
I honestly thought he was going to go in there,
Part of the kids stuff. So if we did top kids ones, I'd put it in that.
Yeah. That's probably the best comedy.
Ben Stiller is an awkward dad.
Oh, yeah.
Every film.
Yeah. Well, let's meet the fuckers, meet the parents.
Yeah.
But they're a bit more family, aren't they?
They're a bit more
debauched.
They're a bit more.
Yeah, still.
And then there's so many Disney films that I've laughed my head off, like Monsters Inc. I don't know how many times I've cracked up.
Emperor's New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove is one of my favourites.
Way underrated.
Emperor's New Groove. That's probably the best.
Even Mona and The Rock.
Yeah,
you cracking me up. It's.
I did actually see Emperor's New Groove at the cinema.
No way.
Lucky.
Nice.
So, no, I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of films to pack into a top 5, but I think we did ourselves a good service.
Yeah,
definitely.
Justice.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you guys for coming on and doing the episode. I really appreciate you coming down. Chris, I hope you had fun and come back on again as well, mate.
Definitely. I'll have it back on whenever you have me, guys.
Please, guys. Always welcome.
Awesome.
So thank you guys for doing that. And if you guys liked what you listened to, obviously follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B Podcast or on Instagram at M.T.V.B Podcast. This is Phil, Scott, Chris, Tim, and Ant-Man saying, "You're tearing me apart, Lisa." Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.